106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
Wednesday, May 22nd. Guys, May is flying by. They all fly by. I'm your host, Gabe Altay. This is Double Impact, and tonight, we're doing Enter the Dragon. I'm here with my wonderful host, the beautiful, the lovely, the talented, Midnight Lover himself, the great Jericho Green. How you doing, friend?
Doing great.
Right. That is
two things about our intro that one of them I've wanted to say for weeks, but I always forget.
All right.
But
you love it, and I'm a genius for the way I arranged that. Yes.
Yeah, of course. But the last one, the very last clip, Steven Seagal, Out for Justice, what that prostitute says to him in that scene. Of course, you don't hear it, but
right. She says, "You want a smooch?" And the legend is, I don't know. The legend is that was not part of the movie. That he was in a rough neighborhood filming, and that was real. I doubt that, but I choose to believe it because it's more fun that way. Because
when you hear him laugh,
when he laughs, it's so authentic. He's so caught off guard.
He even says, "Did you hear what she said to me?" Like that has to be real. I'm believing that until I die. And then the other one was the clip where Sean Connery's sitting at the poker table, and or the blackjack table, whatever it was, roulette,
right?
And he's lighting that cigarette. You can't put into words, as a smoker, a former smoker, I should say. I haven't smoked in almost 13 years, but as a former smoker who went hard in the paint, enough can't be said of how cool they make smoking look in movies. They have a drink, or Bruce Willis in Die Hard, he's just escaped death and he just wants a cigarette. At the very beginning, it's dark, we're wearing sunglasses, we got a half tank of gas and a half pack of cigarettes. Hit it. Like they just, in the movies and TV shows, they always make smoking look so cool. And I don't know if subconsciously that played into me starting to smoke, but the shit looks so cool.
That is an unfortunate thing about smoking. It looks so cool. Can you look dumb smoking? I mean, if you're a guy, you got the cigarette, you just kind of turn and tell someone something. You'd be talking about anything. You'd be talking about your stupid lunch order at Burger King. You'd look cool doing it,
Yeah. And you light it with a Zippo? Come on.
I got the chicken parmesan for lunch. It was shit.
Right? And I'm hanging on your every word. Go on.
Right.
They always look so cool. Even as a kid, my dad used to watch really old movies. The Man with the Golden Arm, of course, Casablanca, the Have and Have Not, Cabin in the Sky.
What about when someone has it just like barely hanging? They just have it. Like, there's a pen, so I can't really do it. But it's like saliva stuck to their lip, and it's just kind of going while they talk. Is that cool or is that weird?
That's kind of cool. It depends. At some point, you got to light that damn thing. But yeah, man, as a kid, I used to be, man, that looks so Humphrey Bogart, packing the cigarettes.
Right.
And lighting it in the tuxedo with the white jacket. That shit always looks so cool to me.
I've never been a smoker. I bought a pack of Marlboro Reds when I was 18 because you were allowed to buy them, and I wanted to see. I knew I wouldn't smoke. I smoked them all in my car in the parking lot at Devon's in Rancho Bernardo, California, and I got like a headache and wanted to throw up. So that was
they're not really meant to power through in one sitting.
What do I know about this?
It's not a giant meal at some Texas roadhouse that if you eat it, you get it for free. That should have took you probably a week, being that you were new. Probably should have took you a week to smoke that whole pack of cigarettes. But you're a doer, Gabe. You're a doer. Yeah,
I had a cigar at my buddy's Vegas. We were in Vegas for 3 days for his bachelor party about 10 years ago. I think it was 11. It was 2013. Wow, 2013. I was just in Vegas, my favorite city. As you know, I was in. We cut it short last week with the great Todd Senefonte. Go watch Darkness of Man, Amazon Prime. And what was the second place it was?
Hulu, I think. No, Apple TV.
Apple TV and Amazon Prime, Darkness of Man, Jean-Claude Van Damme's latest and greatest. And of course, Todd is his stuntman and body double. Go check that out, please. Came out on Tuesday. But that's why I cut the show short last week, because I had to get up at 4 a.m. and drive to Colorado. So my dad had double knee replacement surgery, so I had to take care of him for a few days. I got 2 brothers that live there. Hopefully they're over there. Abe, Juma, my 2 brothers, taking care of dad. But I was there like 4 or 5 days. Came home, and it was delightful. I drove home. I just drove to Vegas on my way back and stopped and had dinner with none other than the great Dean Cain. Then he took me to his house, and we hung out there for hours, and it's just the most beautiful house I've ever seen. Just like you wouldn't believe. It just
he is super, man.
What a host he was. What a splendid house. What a view he has. Yeah, I wish I could show people, but I don't want to dox like his location or nothing. But we had a great time. He's a really nice host. And then I came home the next morning. I went back to my hotel, slept, got up at 4, and drove back to San Diego yesterday. So I was gone for almost a week, but it was absolutely wonderful. So let's see. So everybody's here. Missouri Johnson. I like this. Harmonica picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue. Well, at least you stopped. They said you couldn't do it, but I believed in you the whole way. Harmonica.
Is that from Airplane?
Probably.
So.
It sounds like
a classic.
That sounds like a
classic comedy. Yeah, you gotta. Have you seen Airplane?
No, I haven't.
Oh, we got to do that one. I know it's not an action movie, but
I was wondering how do we do comedies on here?
We can do whatever we want, Gabe. This is America.
It's America, baby. That's right.
We could have a maybe, we would do, Seagal movies, Van Damme, Denzel. We could do a little comedy stretch. I think that would.
You know what I saw for the first time in my life 3 weeks ago that I adore? Now, I am 35 years late on this one, so I know. You guys already know, and you've already seen it a million times. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Holy shit, that was hilarious.
Never seen that. John Candy, Steve Martin.
I finally saw one that you haven't seen. Do yourself a favor. I think it's only an hour and a half long, or maybe it's, I don't know. Watch it tonight if you have time after the show. Watch that. It is so good. Like, outstandingly good. Hilarious from wire to wire, but heartfelt too, actually. So it's really good.
Well, I will watch it tonight if we don't do a 4-hour show. So it all depends.
Mrs. Doubtfire. Got to do Airplane. Love the jive, guys. I know I've seen the clip like, do you speak jive or something like that?
The dude was sick. And it's a mother from the Brady Bunch. That's what makes it so funny. It was a mom from the Brady Bunch who's the stewardess. She's like, I speak jive. Or she was a passenger on the plane. She's like, excuse me, stewardess, I speak jive. That is some of the funniest shit. Now, Mrs. Doubtfire, that may be a little out of our realm. But Airplane, we have to get like 5 just super iconic comedies to do, and Airplane has to be one. That movie. That's one of those movies you can quote to somebody anywhere in the world, and they know.
Well, one we've been talking about as long as we've been doing the show, and it opens the show now, is Blues Brothers. That is a comedy I grew up watching and I've seen a million times.
Blues Brothers, I say this is my suggestion.
All right.
Blues Brothers, Airplane, Blazing Saddles. That has to
Blazing
be-
Saddles
that's-
is great. You know, we've done comedy on here and it works. We did Young Frankenstein and we had a great time doing Young Frankenstein.
Yes. But
I was,
those three movies are everything.
You want a moment? So I'm at Dean's house and he has a really nice deck on the second level, but then he has a spiral staircase to a little deck on the roof. So his deck, he's got like 2 decks on his house. We're up there. We can see all of the Las Vegas Valley. The sun's going down. All the lights of the casinos are going crazy. It's just such a beautiful view. And we talked about Blazing Saddles and we talked about Young Frankenstein up. It was really nice. It was an awesome moment. I was with him for like 4 hours that night and we didn't talk business. We just talked as friends. It was really nice to just connect that way, you know, because we do so much, you know.
Blazing Saddles is Young Frankenstein, that slapstick kind of comedy, but way more offensive.
Right. Like when the black sheriff comes to town and the white lady does not say, "How you doing, fella?"
Oh, the old lady, yeah, when he's walking down the street.
And then Gene Wilder's all, "Well, what did you expect? You thought she was going to say, well, how you doing, fella?" or something like that.
Yeah, she's like, he's all there, something like prairie people or something. He's like, you know, morons. And it makes him laugh, you know.
Right.
And then that lady ends up bringing him a pie. But she's like, in the middle of the night, she's like, don't tell anybody that I gave it to you, but thank you, Sheriff.
Here's a weird coincidence. Here's why Dean and I started talking about Blazing Saddles. We were talking about being football players and playing, and you know, he was a free safety and I was a lineman. Those are the big dumb guys, but I'm not dumb. But me and my son created a character that we do the voice to each other of Mungo. And Mungo is big and stupid. Mm-hmm. And you want me to get them, coach? You want me to get the ball, coach? Mungo, get the ball. It's a thing me and my son do. We joke about a big, fat, dumb, stupid football player. I'd never seen Blazing Saddles. And Dean told me there's a character in that called Mungo that's a big guy and he punches the horse out. I think that's the weirdest coincidence in the world that I made up Mungo years, because I only saw Blazing Saddle like 3 years ago. I made up Mungo like 8-9 years ago. How does something like that happen? Very strange.
Well, here's another layer to that. The guy who played Mungo was a lineman. I think he was an offensive lineman for the Raiders.
That makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the guy that was Sloth. Hey, you guys. He played for the Raiders.
Oh, that's why he was
the Raiders retarded. Or the Rams? I can't remember.
Well, that's clearly why he was retarded.
I should have proposed to Dean that night. Look at this guy. Look at this guy coming here all bold and brash, throwing haymakers. All right.
It's never too late, man. He's still riding that new father high. You know, he hasn't come down.
That's fine. That's fine. He's riding high in the saddle. He's Billy Badass coming into my house, insulting me. Okay.
I'm not putting your feet up on my coffee table. No. You son of a bitch.
Hey, send your location, homie.
No. Hey, Gabe, what would you do if somebody, first time they come over to your house and he sits in your chair? Do you say something?
I will help him across the room.
At a high rate of speed. Yeah, for sure. There's 2 things you don't do when you go to somebody's house for the first time. 3 things. You don't sit in their chair, you don't open their fridge, and you don't take a shit. You can't do that on the first time.
Right. Do you have a friend where you can open the fridge? Because I can open the fridge. Merlin, my best friend, you met him at my wife's birthday party. I can open the fridge at his house. We're like family. I've been at his house since I was 9 years old. I can open it his, but I wouldn't do that to anyone else.
No, it's a pretty short list.
Okay.
My brother-in-law, of course, but I think that's about it. Like even friends of mine. Oh, my best friend, I could do that.
You can open the fridge at my house. I will allow it. I will allow it. You can open it in my house. That's fine.
But I don't think I would though. It's just
you could though. I insist. Open it. No.
Every whole family standing around. Do it. Open it. But it's just something you have to earn. You don't be doing that shit. You don't go in somebody's.
Kara brings up Uncle Buck. Have you seen Uncle Buck?
I have. Very funny.
Okay. I saw Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. So I was so enthused about John Candy, who I loved. I watched the John Candy cartoon when I was like a 6th grader. Camp Candy was a great cartoon. And I love John Candy from Blues Brothers and some other things. I didn't like Uncle Buck. I thought there was a real hateful streak in it. And I love John Hughes movies. John Hughes is a genius. I didn't like Uncle Buck. It was a hateful movie. I didn't, it was funny, but I thought it was mean. It was mean-spirited is what I thought. I don't know. There was something about it that rubbed me the wrong. They make up for it at the end. The girl, she makes up with Uncle Buck and she likes him. But she's so hateful, it just really rubbed me the wrong way, the way she is.
Yeah,
but
she
was what?
Bitch.
I always feel the same way at the beginning of Home Alone. This family sucks. And they're just like, look what you did, you little jerk, and all that. And I hate the beginning of Home Alone, but I guess that beginning is so important. So you learn the lesson of how important your family is. So I don't think Uncle Buck is a bad movie, but I really did not like the way that girl behaved. It really bothered me.
Yeah, it pissed me off too. And if, even though, you know, that wasn't his daughter, we would have some words because that shit would happen about probably once.
Right.
You ain't gonna talk to me like that, you little shit. I'm here,
Right.
especially watching you for your parents, you little bastard. Hell no. But the beginning of Home Alone, oh man, that is so
Right.
funny.
It makes you want to just rage out.
Sucks. And Macaulay Culkin, he's got to be the most successful child actor ever because the 90s were just on fire for that kid.
Here it is, Kara. Kara says, John Candy had a cartoon. Yeah, go watch it. I mean, you're too old for it now, but in 6th grade, this was fun.
Yeah, don't you watch it now?
Yeah.
But, yeah, that was kind of the part of the package. You know, when you were of a certain level of, or at a certain level of success, you got a cartoon, cereal, you know, toy, shit like that.
Nope. It's a good thing I covered that. Guys, you see behind me, we got Dean Cain, All-American Lawman, Volume 2, The Hong Kong Connection.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote the plot yesterday, driving home from Las Vegas. I wrote it in my head, and it was so good, the plot. I pushed record on my iPhone and dictated the plot. I called Jericho later and told him the plot. Dude, what did you think when I told you the plot?
It's great, man. Absolutely great.
I don't want to say the twist or whatever, but the thing that I told you, because I heard in your voice that you saw it coming when I explained it to you. And,
no, but it's a great plot. It's a great plot twist. And
yeah.
as I mentioned, you know, it opens up to, you know, take it even further. But
we're gonna have so much fun in Hong Kong. We're gonna have so much fun with that. And then we have Empyrean. It's my sci-fi book. Akeon is killing it on that. He's already 20 pages in. We got Jericho Green and the Hammerheads. I'm killing it on that with the concept art. And then we have this little guy here. This will be announced at Comic-Con. You do not get to know what this is yet, but as you can see, it's superhero-ish. I covered the title of the book in the face, so you don't know, but he's jumping through a city there. This is a layout from my iPad. I'm going to draw this up pretty tight on my iPad, then print it and ink it by hand. It'll be faster to ink it on the iPad, but I want, for the cover of this book, I want a real piece of paper to exist with my real inks on it. So things at Big Man Comics are going amazing. It's going really good. Thank all of you that supported Dean Cain, All-American Lawman, because we sold out of Cover C, baby. We did. Thank you. We don't have any more as of tomorrow for sale. I always keep a few reserves in case somebody emails me and says theirs got lost in the mail or whatever. So there are a few more that exist, but I don't have them on the website. You know, you got to keep some in reserve just in case something goes wrong. But you guys have made Big Man Comics a huge success, like more than you know. The stuff that I'm talking about, I've told Jericho a lot of it. The behind the scenes, the business deals and meetings I've made is just, I'm humbled by you, humbled by God. It's so amazing. Thank you guys so very much.
Bastards.
Yeah. Thank you, little bastards and big bastards.
No, just the little ones. Thanks, you little bastards.
So yeah, I'm having the time of my life. Let's see. Don't say.
Just like who was that? Linda Ronstadt and I don't know. They sang the song for Dirty Dancing. I had the time of my life. It's Linda Ronstadt. Is it Joe Cocker? No, I don't know.
The time of my life. And then I'm going to pick you up, Jericho, and spin you around.
I can't condone that.
Nobody puts Jericho in the corner.
No, not for a long time. I'm corner proof. But this, go ahead.
Hey, hold on. The Ragu Overlord is speaking. I would like, what about a Ragu Underlord, like a Ragu Underboss or something like that? You know, underworld figure. Anyway, just want to say, I love the Dean Cain book. I'm going to do it in the Casey Kasem Los Angeles radio voice. Just want to say, I loved the Dean Cain book. Action movie, fast pace, adventure, good messages, humor, interesting villains. Congrats. There you go. That's
Very
Casey Kasem's top 40 right there.
Casey Kasem.
Did you know that Casey Kasem was Shaggy on Scooby-Doo?
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
Oh.
One of the worst cartoons ever made.
What?
Hated
that was
Scooby-Doo.
That was one of the only ones I was allowed to watch when I was a kid.
No, hate Scooby-Doo. Fucking hate it.
You're working out and JG is losing weight, so hey, JG and me are losing weight. I'm down over 40 now, I think, from July. How about you? You weigh yourself or you not weigh? Because you look thinner.
Nope.
Okay.
Haven't weighed myself yet.
Okay.
I don't want to like see something that like upsets me, so I'm like not gonna do it.
Right. Okay.
We'll
All
see.
right. Can you work bouillabaisse into one of your comics? Well, in the final scene of Dean Cain All-American Lawman, the epilogue sort of, he is making rigatoni, and that was a wink. That was a little bit of a wink to our great sponsor, my friend and yours,
Brother.
the great Hulkster. Hey,
Yeah.
Hulkster, let me ask you a question. How you doing, by the way? I haven't seen you in a little bit.
I'm doing real good, brother. Gearing up for the summertime pasta palooza, brother.
Oh, there's nothing like a big bowl of rigatone when it's 105 out to cool you off.
Yeah, it's hot down here in Florida, brother. Got the humidity, brother. I like to sit down with a nice steaming bowl of that sweet semolina around 4 o'clock in the evening, brother. Get that sweat going, brother.
Now, I wanted to say thank you for being like a script supervisor for me when I was working on Dean Cain All-American Lawman. I had that scene where Dean was preparing the rigatoni at the very end of it. Well, I guess he's Chris Tanaka is the character he's playing. And you came in and gave me all your expertise on that, how to make rigatoni and all that. Have you consulted for a lot of movies on pasta dishes and things like that?
Yeah, brother, they had me, if you look at the credits, way at the end, brother, on Ratatouille, brother. And also
that was you?
Yeah, that was me, brother. And that movie with the guy that he has the food truck, brother. I advised on that one too, brother. I do it all. Food Network, brother.
Now, for Ratatouille, you actually went to France. What is the Hulkster, the greatest American? What did you think of the French people?
I thought they smelled, brother. All the ladies have hairy armpits, brother, hairy legs, and they're assholes with their baguettes, brother. I tell you this, France, you're all a bunch of baguettes, brother.
Oh, my goodness. And he said baguettes, YouTube. Baguettes.
Yeah, YouTube overlords.
Was there anything else you want to say about what people can expect from Pastamania this summer as we get into, bikini and board shorts season?
You can expect me in the kitchen, brother, wearing a banana hammock, brother. That's how I like to do it back in that kitchen. It gets hot down here in Florida, brother. You want to come down. You want to sweat. You want to have some good gravy, brother, on some delicious pasta with some good sales, brother. Come on down to Pasta Mania, brother.
All right. The great Hulk Hogan. Thank you so much, friend. The great Hulk Hogan.
Good
so anything
guy.
you
Still,
can do, man.
Still our only sponsor. He's hanging in there, and we appreciate it.
I remember when I was a kid, it'd be in August, visiting Colorado, just 105 out, and my grandma would make a big bowl of pasta. Cool you right off.
Yeah. People, popsicles in water.
Right.
You get a bowl of that hot.
No, I'd have like
two
bowls of Alfredo, a little bit of broccoli with butter, and then just jump right in the pool and throw up everywhere.
Yeah. Eat it while you're poolside.
Just eat it in the pool.
Yeah, the water's murky and shit from all the cream sauce, but that's neither here nor there. Was it delicious? Yes.
Let's see. We got some more. Let's see. Casey Kasem did the voice of Cliff Jumper from Transformers. Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
What's 4th of July like at Pastamania? Oh, we'll have to ask him next time he comes in. Yeah.
I imagine there's some kind of sparkler sticking out of your pasta.
They just play "I'm a Real American" on a loop 24 hours a day.
And he's just all teary-eyed the whole shit.
He sings it, but he gets very emotional when he sings it. I am a real American.
He loves his country, man.
He does.
He helped build this country. Now, I'm not talking about back in the 1700s build this country. I'm talking about the 1980s. He helped build this country, and he did it well.
Mark's Music Obsession, a member for a year, I believe. He lost all his extra weight, 70 pounds, 9 years ago, and never gained it back. He just changed his eating habits, guys. It's that simple, guys. I don't make the rules. And he doesn't splurge often. There you go.
Just a little bit.
Pasta sale, never been used, only dropped once.
Yeah, come on. You wouldn't buy that?
Let's see. And then Florida in the summer equals nope. She's a Midwesterner. Don't do well in the heat. I'm a San Diegan. So it's 65 to 75 here year round. I don't know about all this cold and heat you people are talking about. It's crazy. I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, the Midwest, that's where Father Winter just bukkakis that whole area. It's
Ugh.
terrible. The winters there are unreal.
Captain Haruno hit me up on Twitter saying he was very excited about Enter the Dragon, which we'll eventually talk about sometime this year. And he said he was running through the forest to get to his seat. Turns out his seat was not in the forest. Please tell us where your seat was, because I'm on the edge of mine waiting to find out.
This movie, man. This movie, I've been excited about movies in the past that we've done. We've done a lot of great movies. But this one right here, this movie, Enter the Dragon, has a special place in my heart. This stayed next to the VCR growing up. And it would come on TV, on USA or something. I mean, I don't even know. It's probably one of the movies I've seen the most in my life is Enter the Dragon.
Really?
And it's Bruce Lee's only American film. He died before it came out, unfortunately, before it was released, but he did finish it. Game of Death, he didn't finish. And then one thing that was cool about his movies is you saw a lot of the same faces throughout all of his movies. Some of the same characters, like the guy O'Hara in this one was Carl Miller in Game of Death. He was another guy in Return of the Dragon, the one where he fought Chuck Norris, and a lot of the supporting cast and stuff were familiar faces. But this right here, this is iconic. The cuts on his face,
Right.
and his stomach, when he touches the blood, puts it in his mouth, kicks the shit out of Han, and then spits it out after. And when we get to the scene, I'll show you. But I had a poster of Bruce Lee when he's underground fighting all those guys, and he has his shirt off and he has the nunchucks. I had that poster in my room like my whole childhood. The Bruce Lee was the shit, man, as a kid, the 70s and the 80s.
When I was like 12, we had to move. And then I had been doing karate for a while, but these weird dudes, they tried to take over the dojo I was at. So we moved to a different city. I started going to a different dojo. And then I was in the basement practicing like karate by myself. And there's the door opened to the basement. And there's this big like shaft of light. And there was this guy that looked just like Bruce Lee that came in and started teaching me all the moves and all the ways of Jeet Kune Do and all that.
Dude,
so
that wasn't you.
it was real weird. It's a real weird experience.
That sounds like the movie No Retreat, No Surrender.
I love that Matthew Marsden knows that movie and loves it.
He loved that shit. He was excited.
He wanted to come on tonight. I was talking to him about like 2 hours ago, but he has a big thing because he's got a lot of kids and he's got something with his family. He has many, many children.
A lot of youngins.
So a lot of youngins. So yeah. So no, that story I told, that was a fib. That never happened to me. That happened in a horrible movie that I love. So
and it's bad. This is not a horrible movie. This movie is great from
it's a great movie.
Literally from the opening scene until the end. You see Warner Brothers, and then it pans over Hong Kong, and it's Well,
this movie has everything I love. If you've read the comics I do, or if you've been listening to me on YouTube for a few years, I love Hong Kong. You might have noticed the name of the comic book behind me there. Dean Cain, All-American Lawman, The Hong Kong Connection. And it is called that expressly because I love these movies, Van Damme movies, Bruce Lee movies, and so many of these great movies take place in Hong Kong. Jackie Chan, all of it. And that's why Volume 2 of Dean Cain, All-American Lawman is called The Hong Kong Connection, because we're going to have a lot of fun in Asia over there. And so this thing starts off in Hong Kong. And one of my favorite things, it starts off with a little it's not a kumite, but is it a fighting demonstration?
Yeah, it's like I would say like a sparring match, because they don't like beat the shit out of each other. I mean, they do land some blows, and I like the colors. You have guys in red, and blue, and yellow, and black, all sitting in different areas, and this is the very first scene. And those shoes, the shoes he's wearing with the canvas shoes with the red brick colored bottom. Yeah. Every kid in my neighborhood wanted those. I had a few pair.
Wow!
But that's a young Sammo Hung that he's fighting. Jackie Chan's in this movie too.
Didn't know that.
When we get to that scene, I'll show you as well. But Jackie Chan's in this movie, and he got his eye socket broken in a scene with Bruce Lee.
Whoa!
But they're fighting, and you could see Sammo Hung. He's a bit chunky, not too much, but the striations in Bruce Lee's muscles, his legs. The dude was just shredded.
Yeah.
And
Sammo Hung has always been pudgy, but he moves like a ballerina. One of the best
does in this scene
guys.
too. He does like backflips and shit.
He's so many of the movies you have seen, all of us who watch this stuff, Sammo Hung is involved a lot of times as a stunt guy. I think Todd Senafonte told us that Sammo Hung was the stunt guy for Rob Schneider, Van Damme, Hong Kong movie Knockoff. I'm almost certain Todd told us that Sammo was the stunt coordinator on that one, and love Sammo Hung. He did a lot of things with Jackie Chan too. He's one of the greats in Hong Kong cinema.
That dude had a TV show,
right?
And CBS back in the 90s. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, man, Bruce Lee. This is at the end after he beat Sammo Hung, and the guys, you can tell he's done this. He does this all the time because the guys put their arms together and put him up in the air, and he does a flip over it. And you can tell it's really Bruce Lee too, because it's like a continuous shot. But yeah, he whooped Sammo Hung's ass real bad, and he's so fast, fast.
He didn't give the poor guy a chance.
No, man, he whooped him up quick. So this is Bruce Lee's master. And
can we stop for a second? As an illustrator, myself, as a colorist, this is professional, man. I know it's washed out. It's the 70s. They didn't have the great, quality that we had now with the cameras and all that we have, but this is still fantastic. The light and the dark, the way that's playing, and the color and the composition. For the layman out there with illustration and imagery, composition means where things are in the image, and they're ordered on purpose where they are. The director of photography and all that, they put the stuff, and there's so many good shots in this movie. I tried to get as many as I saw, but this is fantastic. I love this image. I think it's a great one. And the storytelling in this image is fantastic. You know what I mean? He wins that little tournament, Bruce Lee. He goes to this guy who's obviously the leader. You got the big chair there. You got the dark stuff in the foreground. I think it's a great looking image. So,
yeah, this is his master, and he's telling Bruce Lee that you've basically reached the final level. You've transcended fighting, and he's asking him these questions. What's the 13th order of this, or the 13th lesson or whatever? And he recites it to him, and he says some really cool shit in the scene. He says that I can't remember what he asked him, but he says there is no opponent. I'm not fighting. He says my opponent. I'm trying to remember how he put it. He's when I'm standing across from my opponent, when it's time to strike, and he holds up his fist and he says, "I'm not striking. It strikes all by itself." Like he's not. It's almost like he's not fighting on a human level. His body is so trained and he's so enlightened that his extremities just react on their own. He's not like you said. He's not hitting. His fists are hitting on their own. His feet are kicking on their own.
I thought the 13th level was your wife always understands you and you always understand her, and you don't have petty arguments from the male-female difference. That's what I thought.
Nobody can reach that level.
I heard there was a legend. There was a guy that actually reached it for a brief moment.
And then he died.
He's like, died. I understand women. And then his head exploded.
That's where they got the idea from Raiders when he opened the Covenant. That's what happened to that dude. His skin melted off, his eyeballs turned to liquid. Yeah. And like you said, it was just a moment. He got just to feel it. Just a fleeting moment,
And
then he, and then ended up blowing away as dust in the wind. But this is like, and it's cool to see Bruce Lee have a master. Right. We know he's going to kick ass in this movie, but he's still grounded in something. He has a master of his own, and it's more than just martial arts to him. And I think this was in real life. It's more than martial arts. It's his way of life.
Anyone that I think anyone that pursues something to the highest level possible. I've done it with comics, not bragging, but the top Batman, Superman, and now the books I do. When you pursue it to that level, it is your lifestyle. Like it is your identity. This is what you eat and breathe and do all day to get to that kind of level.
That's what you are.
So yeah, it defines you very much. I mean, other things too, your family and your religion and all that, but very much so. And I wouldn't have it any other way. I think as a man, it's so satisfying to just take that hammer and that anvil and just pound away. And eventually you have a thing of beauty in your hands and you built it. yourself. I think it's wonderful. So I had like you, Jericho, I admire all high achievers, man. And if
Yeah.
I could steal any ideas or knowledge, I do. I go right up to I was talking to a friend of mine who's quite wealthy the other day and just asking him, okay, I'm doing good, I'm doing this. How do I do what you're doing? I'm listening, I'm all ears. Am I doing something stupid? And he was as the kids say, he was spitting facts at me. He was telling me all kinds of great stuff. So yeah, love the achievement and love anyone that does it.
Yeah, this and the scene before this, when he's fighting Sammo Hung, when they're squaring off, you can see like a bruise right by his hip, like where his underwear line is. There's a bruise there, and then there's a scene later in the movie where it shows his fist, and you could see where he like there was a scab that had healed on his fist. Like that's how hard he's trained in real life. And nowadays they probably would have CGI'd that shit out, but you could really see like this dude, he was about this shit in his real life. Like his hands are calloused and scabbed and bleeding from what he did. And so this guy's telling him that there's a monk. He said, I've of all the people I've trained, there's only one that's gone astray, and his name's Han. Han is the bad guy in this movie, and he tells him that Han is using everything for evil, and you need to stop him. There's going to be somebody that you're going to talk to, and they're going to explain this in more detail, but you need to stop Han. And basically he's telling him, you're the only one who can, because you've achieved this level, because you're ready, you're the only one who can stop Han.
And I think, and I'll show you later, but I think Han really looks like Ming from Dean Cain All-American Lawman, like visually. I don't know if Aikion referenced that, but like his facial structure, his haircut, actually very similar. And they're both Chinese bad guys. So maybe there's a thing there.
Could be.
I don't know.
Makes sense.
And then you get, again, I told you guys I have a real romanticized view of Hong Kong. I love it. It's the setting for the next Dean Cain book. It's the setting for a book I'm going to do way down the line from now, which is basically Van Damme movies meets Street Fighter, the video game with superpowers and stuff like that, like those Street Fighter video game powers. That comic book I'll eventually do. I have many others happening right now. Beef Law, and that thing takes place in Hong Kong, Victoria Harbor. So this is colonial British rule built a lot of this. And I love Victoria Harbor, just as, Van Damme is there doing the splits on that one building in Bloodsport. Remember, like they always, Victoria Harbor itself is a character to me. You know what I mean? These buildings. I've drawn Victoria Harbor, seen it in so many of these movies. I think it's just such a fantastic locale. It seems so busy and metropolitan, and what's going on, and people and lives and business and crime. And, it just seems so full of stories, a place like this, And
I wonder what mountain they're on to get the view of Victoria Harbor.
Well, yeah, Victoria Harbor's right there. And then there's, I don't know the name of the range there, but there's some hills and mountains right up against it. So, yeah.
Yeah. And, this is, as a kid watching this movie, I always got excited because the music, the score is a character in the movie as well. And it's like, and
it's start showing you music.
It's very 70s.
They got a little bit of that waka 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 in the guitars, and it's a little bit of a product of its time, because there's a part too where those girls are tripping out when Williams is getting beat up.
Yeah.
And you can tell they're on drugs and they have like free love painted on their face.
Yeah, the face paint through that was such a weird scene. But there's that and that's all through the movie. So some shit's about to happen when you hear that music come in.
Right.
But man, this opening scene is shit.
Right. Still looking forward to Beef Law. Love to look for it. And it's drawings you did for the brothers, Gabe. Thank you. Yeah, that's coming. That's coming eventually. But I'm drawing 2 books this year. I'm drawing Jericho Green and the Hammerheads, and I'm drawing that one I showed at the beginning of the show, where I will not tell you what it is, because that is a Comic-Con announcement. So that one, sorry guys, but that one's going to be announced at Comic-Con, of some great announcements there. And potentially we're going to have I have a booth at the San Diego Convention Center. You guys will know all about that. I'll let you know. But if you weren't in earlier, this is a work. I've already done one cover, but here's another cover for the other book I'm drawing this year. And yes, it's superheroes.
Yeah.
And no, I will not tell you the title of the book or the face of the character. I know. But I had a 1-hour phone conference with the guy last week, and we talked again today for about an hour. We've got the plot all figured out. I love it. It doesn't spoil anything to tell you. The general theme of this one is having ultimate power and realizing that it's important to have your morality correct. And it isn't just important to be powerful, rich, famous, all the worldly things we all love to chase. And you realize that it matters more what you do than what you have or whatever, anything like that. So, and that doesn't spoil anything. Don't worry. You guys will love this. This one's going to blow you away when it's announced. So if I moved that black square, you would know exactly what it is.
Yep.
So I shall not do that.
Your ass.
I shall not do that. So
Shan't.
oh, I was looking at the file name. I'm like, oh God, it's not named. And it's not. That file's name, screenshot 2024. Oh, whew, that was a close one. So Enter the Dragon gets off to a great start. It's such a great way to start a movie with an action scene. It really is. You should always start with the bank heist or the speedboat chase. Dean Cain, All-American Lawman, starts with the motorcycle chase on the bad guy's military base. Start with an action scene. It persuades your reader that the universe is already true. You just throw them in the middle of something. You throw them in the library and they're already ghost busting. You don't set it up. And this is where Egon got his glasses. Like, no. They're already Ghostbusters. This is, and I'm telling you, this is a real psychological thing studied and researched. If you want to be a writer out there, you just start in the middle of a scene. And the reader or the viewer or whatever you're making, movie, book, whatever, their mind will assume that it's all true and fill in the gaps perfectly with emotion. That's perfect. The less said, the better. Shakespeare said the brevity of the soul of wit. Brevity is the soul of wit. Jeez, sorry, I've got like 500 thoughts in my head. Brevity is the soul of wit. So yes, start in the middle of an action scene. It's a great way to start things.
Now, hold on. We go, go back a couple. Go back to the orange guy or the guy in the orange suit. Go back to Trump. Anyway, go back to the guy in the orange suit. So he's telling him that you're going to meet a guy and he's going to give you more detail. So then he walks. There's like this garden, and he walks through it. And this British guy named Mr. Braithwaite introduces himself, and he explains to him that there's a tournament that Han holds every so often, and the last one was like 3 years before. And he said, "You've already received an invitation to this, so we need you to go there." And he's like in the middle of talking, and Bruce Lee looks over, and he sees this kid, probably 14, 15-year-old kid walking up, and he says, "It's Lao's time." And this kid's name is Lao. So he's teaching this kid, and what a fucking great teacher to have, right? A private lesson with Bruce Lee.
Right.
So
I don't have a shot of that. I don't have a shot of that scene where he's talking to the kid about his finger and this and that.
Yeah. But this sets up even more how serious Bruce Lee takes this and how much a part of it, how much it is his life and it is him. So he goes over to the kid and he tells the kid, just like you were saying, starting in the middle of something, a scene, he just goes up to the kid and says, "Kick me." And he looks at him, he goes, "Kick me." And he gets in his stance and the kid kicks him and he says, "What was that?" And he saw, "I want emotional content. Now try again." And so the kid's like, "Okay." And the kid tries to kick him again. And he goes, "I said emotional content, not anger. Now try again with me." And then the kid kicks and he does those like 2 or 3 kicks. And he goes, "How did that feel to you?" And the kid looks up at the sky and he puts his hand on his chin. He goes, "Let me think." And he hits him on the head and he goes, "Don't think, feel." It's like a finger pointing away to the moon. And the kid's looking at his finger and hits him on the head again. He goes, "Don't concentrate on the finger or you will miss all the heavenly glory." And then he ends the lesson. So he's like giving this kid, martial arts lessons, but hitting him with the philosophy and, the stars and the planets and the universe, the cosmos and shit. So it really shows, speaks more to not so much to what he's teaching the kid, but how Bruce Lee is and his character. So then fast forward to all these characters are arriving in Hong Kong for this tournament. So you have Bruce Lee getting there. That's Jim Kelly right there, Black Belt Jones, some of those famous blaxploitation films. Then you have John Saxon showing up, and then it proceeds to tell you a bit of their backstory, how they ended up there. So here, that's Mr. Braithwaite, the British.
Now, what agency is this that Bruce Lee is supposed to work for? I didn't catch that.
It's like MI6 or something. It's like British.
So it's supposed to be British
CIA or something. Yeah.
And they're telling him about the same character that his master was talking about. His master told him about Han. He was the only student that he ever had that turned to the dark side. He's a crime lord. So the British guy, the leader of the British intelligence, is telling Bruce Lee, "We need you to go infiltrate that tournament your master was talking about. It's every 3 years. And Han does bad things. He sells drugs. He imprisons people. He does all this bad shit on an island." Can I stop right there and just tell you guys, I am a tremendous fan of like heists and capers and crime. Donald Westlake is an author. He wrote this series of books called Parker under the pen name Richard Stark. They made it as Point Blank starring Lee Marvin. They remade it as Payback starring Mel Gibson. They've made movies out of Richard Stark's Parker character. And a bad guy having an effing island where he does that. That's so 60s, 70s. Like, I love stuff like that. Again, Dean Cain, American Lawman Volume 2, that's where we're going. We're going right into that kind of feeling. You know how James Bond felt and how these crime things with Lee Marvin and all that great 60s, 70s feel. So this stuff, when the British MI6 or whatever it is leader starts telling him about the black and white surveillance footage, and they're telling about all the bad things these guys do on the island with killing and drugs, and they do everything under the sun. It's organized crime, I'm sure. And there's his big heavy, I forget this guy's name, but
O'Hara.
O'Hara. He's a big enforcer on the island for Han. But one of my favorite shots, I hope I have it, is the island on the map. I love, I don't know how much you love, if you geek out on this like I do. I love stuff like this so much.
Yeah, he's showing him slides of surveillance photos. He showed him a slide of one of their female agents they sent there. She ended up dead. She washed up on shore.
Right.
And
wasn't she injected with heroin or something when they found her?
He got him. She was all hooked on heroin and shit. And so he's showing O'Hara, and this is actual footage of the guy hitting his arm. When he's doing has his fist out in a punch, hitting his arm, showing how tough he is, saying that this is his main enforcer, this is his right hand man, O'Hara, and he's showing him all this stuff, and he's looking at his papers and his maps, and he's asked Mr. Braithwaite. He goes, "How come somebody doesn't go in there with a 45 and bang, settle it?" And he says, "Well, Han had a really bad accident with a gun, and he lost his hand, so he doesn't allow guns on the island. So you can't, somebody can't just go in there and snipe him out or something like that."
Now this Han and all the stuff they do is different from this. I discovered this like a year or two ago. And yes, I am that friend that sends you private messages and memes on Instagram. I discovered this account called McDojo Life.
Oh, wow.
I suggest you all follow this on Instagram because this is a thing of beauty, McDojo Life. It's people like with a Dwight Schrute from The Office personality. They're like, "I could push you back with my force field. I've been training Jeet Kune Do." And it's literally like footage of people doing this. Like, this isn't a joke. This isn't Saturday Night Live. And I send these to Jericho all the time. I love
and I find some too, and I'll send them to you too. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Can you imagine paying for this?
Like giving out belts and shit for this.
Oh.
It's like,
man, he got him. He zapped him. I didn't think it feels to get zapped with the
pow, zap, bang, pow. Like it's fucking hilarious. And it's not so much what they're doing, it's that people are paying and sitting in these classes and believing the shit. That's where the comedy comes in. But he shows O'Hara getting hit on his arm with that stick, and this is his tough guy. And since they can't just go in there with like a military strike, that's why we need your skills, Bruce Lee. That's why we need your expertise. We need to get in there, infiltrate, and take Han out. And somebody has to do it, with their bare hands.
I like when the ninja master is fat. That tells you he's super disciplined.
Yeah, come on, man.
Do you think maybe his hands really stink or something? Do you think that's what it is?
I thought he was going to grab that dude's dick at first. This gets in there. This is my favorite move.
It looks like modern interpretive dance or something, Did he just stare that guy to the ground?
He has shoes on. He has New Balance on the mat. Come on. Nothing says I don't give a shit like camo and white sneakers.
He's got to get this class over. He's got to get to the Golden Corral soon, this guy.
Dude, come on. And all those guys are dollar signs. They all paid to be there. So he's telling
breath, maybe. They know where that hand has been.
Oh, can you please put your fingers in my mouth? Please. How much are we paying for that? So he's telling him, Bruce Lee, we need your skills to get
on
in there,
the island.
Take out Han on the island.
Right.
There's only one way to get there. So it's showing all the guys coming into the island, and then it gets into their backstory. So
yeah, he meets with his master, right? Or another. Who is this? Another master. Oh, it's his uncle. Not the master was in the orange. My bad.
Yeah, and he's like, so he goes there. And another thing, the costumes, the clothes. Later on, you'll see the guys in the tournament. They have these black silk robes with the red border around it, black and red and yellow and black. Like the color schemes are really cool. So Bruce Lee is talking to his uncle, and he tells him the story of what happened.
Is that O'Hara there in the yellow?
Yeah, this
Right.
is extra motivation. Not so much it turns out to be extra motivation, but that's not why he's telling him. He's
Right.
just telling him so he knows where he's going and what happened, where he's going, and who he's going to run into. So he tells him that 3 years ago, we were on the island, me and your sister, and a bunch of O'Hara's men were there for the tournament, and they kind of came into town to let loose. So there's all these guys, and you see O'Hara in that yellow jacket. And they come across Bruce Lee's uncle and his sister. And you could see the guys, you know, they're blocking her path. She turns to go the other way. Some guy jumps in front of her and like tries to grab her. So she boomed. And this chick's a great fighter. Like you could tell, right. Bruce Lee was like, hey, if this girl's going to be my sister in this movie, she needs to be badass. And she was. So she gives the first dude like a 2-piece and kicks another dude. And then O'Hara is going to get her. And the old man, you see him take out a knife. And he slices O'Hara on his face, like from the top of his forehead all the way down to like
right. That's why he has that scar over his eye later.
Yeah, he slices him, right? So he ends up beating the shit out of the old man. And while he's doing that, his sister takes off, and she's running to a real shitty part of town, very poor. There's like
and it's all uneven and bridges and buildings and corners and nothing. Dirt pathways and roads. It's
sheet metal buildings, and
there's just like a dog there that nobody owns it. It's like 50 pounds underweight.
The lady's like chopping a duck outside of her window and
a lot of tires just filled with rainwater.
A lot of tires and rainwater. People, that's a true sign of poverty.
And they end up cornering her. And
as she's running through the town, she's kicking the shit out of these dudes. You can see she took some lumps. She has like a busted lip and a black eye and shit, but she's pretty much, serving these dudes up. If it was one-on-one, she would have fucked these dudes up.
Right.
So, this old lady is looking out her window watching this happen, and the girl runs to get help, and the woman closes the window on her.
Nice.
So she ends up going into this building and locking the door, and she like puts a piece of wood, across the door like she's secure. So she looks up and sees there's like a loft. So she's going to climb up there. So she starts moving shit out of the way. It's like a bunch of old furniture and shit. And when she does that, the guys like throw chairs to the window and they break in there to the room with her. So now she's cornered. And O'Hara climbs through the window. His face is all bloody and shit. And she knows what's about to happen. There's like 8 dudes, 9 dudes. Yeah. She knows what's about to happen. The unthinkable. So she grabs a huge piece of glass and she looks at him. And you see, and it's cool the way this is shot, because you see her looking around the room. She grabs a piece of glass, and then you just see her accept what's going to happen. Her face just goes blank. She's not scared anymore. She knows what she's going to do. So you see
Did they ever mention why O'Hara and his goons were there? Were they?
Yeah, because they were in the city for the tournament. They were in town for the tournament, and they were just kind of hitting the city to, do.
They were just pillaging Vikings.
He said that they were harassing people and fucking with people. And they came across them. So she looks, and this is a famous scene from this movie because it's from her POV. She takes the shard of glass, she puts her arms out so she can get momentum to stab herself. And as she does that, you see O'Hara standing in front of her, watching her do this. And then he gets blurry and it focuses on her hand, and she just stabs herself, basically, seppuku style, right in the stomach, and kills herself rather than be dishonored like that.
You know what she should have done? She should have hit him with one of these.
She wasn't. She had.
Look at the power. Look at the grace and the power.
She had another 2 levels to go. She wasn't ready.
He's got him in the backbreaker. He's got him stuck there with his power.
Yeah.
Did he tickle him there at the end?
Yeah, you got to tickle him in his belly button. That's the only way to undo it. He goes.
So I call this technique the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Pillsbury. So yeah, man, those things are so stupid.
I love it. I love McDojo Life so much.
So he tells him what happened. And so in the beginning, he's telling him, we were in town and blah, blah, blah. And then at the end, it cuts back to Bruce Lee, and he has tears streaming down his face after hearing what happened to his sister. Because I think the way I saw it is he knew his sister died, but he didn't know how. So he's telling
right. So this was the ugly truth finally revealed by his uncle.
Yeah. And so he has tears streaming down his face. And he goes, when you get to the city, pay your respects to your mother and your sister. And then he looks at him and goes, I will, old man. And we used to say that to each other all the time. I will, old man. So he says, I will, old man. And cut to him at the cemetery in Hong Kong. And he's at his mother's and his sister's gravesite. And he's telling his mother, please forgive me for what I'm about to do.
Dang, that's a man that's going to go savage.
Yeah, he says it goes against what my sister believed in and what you taught me. But I have to. He's like, I must go. Please forgive me. And he just walks away. Clean ass suit, too. Nice three-piece suit.
Looking good. Giant collar, you know?
Yeah, bell bottoms. But hey, 70s, you know, like crazy. But
you know, we used to make fun of the 70s growing up in the 80s and 90s. It was the easy target, the bell bottoms, the butterfly collars. But I would say now, and Jericho, you said you would throw these people in prison. I don't like them. I wouldn't throw them in prison. But the way the average person, when you go anywhere in society, is addressed like a effing slob.
Oh.
And the number one thing that men and women are doing, pajama pants in public. You look like you stink when you're wearing those.
No, you're out
I'm
of here.
sorry. You're my
here.
friends, all you watching. But if any of you out there watching wear pajama pants anywhere outside of your bedroom, don't ever do it again. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, don't do it again.
Yeah. If you leave your property line in pajamas, we're done.
Holy
if you're going
shit,
out,
dude.
it's a lazy Sunday, you're going out, you know, to take the trash out or something. Okay. But you leave your property line in PJs and you go out in public, you're out of here. And I wouldn't send them to prison. If I was King Jericho of America, I wouldn't send them to prison. They would get caned like that kid in Singapore.
Ooh.
Something like that. Because we got to say prison for the real bad people. But yeah, you're getting something. You're getting some kind of physical repercussions for that filth. But on this, you know, dressed to the nines, man. Bruce Lee, you know, killed it. And like you said, this is the scene where, you know, the guy would be talking to a priest and, you know,
right.
Ask for forgiveness. There's no forgiveness for what I'm about to do.
Oh, Mark's music obsession brings up a great point. We're grown men. You shouldn't own pajamas. You know what your pajamas are as a man? T-shirt and boxers. That's what your pajamas are anyway. What are you doing button up something with stripes or little designs on it? No pajamas. This is a great point, Mark. Why would a grown man wear pajamas? That's bizarre. You shouldn't even own them.
I have to stand up for the pajama owners. I'm not talking full body. I'm not talking about full outfits. You're not Ward Cleaver, you know, with the button up and you both sleep in separate beds and all that 50 shit. But where I live, it gets cold. So during the winter, I'll have some jammy bottoms on.
Nope.
I'll rock the jammy bottoms.
Do you wear socks in bed? I don't know if I could fall asleep with socks on.
No.
Ugh.
But now that it's getting hot, no, it's t-shirt and underwear for sure.
What about naked sleepers? I don't trust those people at all.
Now, once you have kids, you can't do that. Don't be sleeping naked. What if your kids?
Just never. Even kids, no kids. You can't be sleeping naked.
That's but if you're getting with the old lady, shit gets out of control. You fall asleep in a heap. You know, your butt ass. I'm not against it. I don't feel as strongly as I do about pajama bottoms in public. But once you have kids, you can't be sleeping naked. You fucking weirdo. Shrapnel
has PJ pants. Kara likes to wear socks.
PJ pants are cool. But
they probably like creamy peanut butter too while they're at it. Ugh.
But in her defense, in Kara's defense, she's a lady, and you know women have the body temperature of a cadaver.
That's true. Plain and simple truth tells the plain and simple truth, dude. San Diego has the best climate ever. It does. It's like 65 to 75 year round at my house, and you know, you're a Californian too, Jericho. But it gets very cold where you live and very hot where you live.
Yeah, it's hot as shit where I live. It's 85 degrees right now, and it's after 7 o'clock at night.
You got up to a balmy 72 today or something like that. So
it's 72 here at like 6 o'clock in the morning.
It's very nice.
Summertime, man, it gets cranking early.
No,
by 8 o'clock.
It does get cold here. I live very, very physically close to the ocean. As the crow flies, I won't dox myself, but I live right by Shamu. I live very close to the ocean, and it gets cold. When I was in high school, I still lived in San Diego, but I didn't live by the ocean. I lived inland more, and it's a good 10, 15 degrees colder here. In January and February, it can be like 38 at night here at my house. It can be that cold, just above freezing. So, but I will not put pants on. I refuse to wear pants in bed.
No,
I will just put another blanket on. That's all.
I have a heating blanket too. That's a game changer. But here where I live in the wintertime, it can get like, low 30s, upper 20s at
Ooh.
night. So it's cold as hell.
What's the Mark Twain quote? The coldest winter I ever spent is that summer in San Francisco.
San Francisco. That's right. That's the truth. But in the summertime, if you live where it's hot, you go outside about 8 o'clock in the morning, you can feel that it's going to be hot. You can feel it, you can smell it. That's just how.
Yeah, that's annoying when you're in Vegas or you're in Phoenix and you're going to breakfast and you're having to use the air conditioner on the way to breakfast at 7:30 in the morning.
Smoking.
But
yeah, a pair of drawers and no shirt. Yeah, that's good summertime bedwear.
I gotta wear a shirt. I gotta wear the shirt and the shorts. I slept in a truck. Have you ever slept in a car?
Yes.
I've slept in a car 3 times in my life. I slept in a car a week ago. As you know, I drove to Colorado. I left my house at 5:20 California time. Got to my dad's house at 11 at night, Colorado time. So it was like a 17-hour drive. Yes, I did it in one shot. And my dad had double knee surgery. And I thought my little brother, who is 28, I thought he'd be home. So he would let me in. I'm not going to ask my dad with 2 titanium knees that he just had operated on like 12.
Dude.
Yeah, knock on the door at 11 at night and wake him up. I knock on the door, nobody answers. I call my little brother, and then I notice his car ain't there. He's staying at his friend's house or whatever. So I got in the back of my Ford F-150 and went to sleep. And woke up at like 7:30 and knocked on the door. My dad happened to be up and around, so he let me in. So yes, I slept in a car last week. It was all right. It wasn't great. It was all right.
Yeah, as a man, it's good to have slept in a car a few times. I've done that. It's hard to get comfy, but what are you gonna do?
Right. So so we get to the other guys arriving for this tournament that Han has at his Villain Island. This is fake James Bond, also known as Roper.
Yeah, Mr. Roper.
John Saxon. I think he was the second billed actor in this. What else has he been in? He's a good-looking fella.
I don't even know. This is like the only thing I've ever seen him in, but he's got to be pretty famous to be second billed to Bruce Lee in the early 70s. So he's done some shit. So he's a con man, basically.
Right, and he's showing up with 8,000 suitcases, it looks like. Yeah. And then they cut back to the past, and he's golfing with his friend and girlfriend or something like that, and then some
I think she's more like his assistant. Assistant with benefits. She was a Foxy Brown type chick. And these guys, he owes money. He's gambling and shit. He owes people money. They send some henchmen out to see him at the golf course, and he kicks their ass and then goes on the run. So that's why he goes to the tournament. He goes back and tells her, hey, she's like, hey, you got this letter. Blah, blah, it's a tournament. He's like, oh, good. I need to get the fuck out of here. So that's how he goes to the tournament. And this is Williams, played by Jim Kelly. And his is a lot different. This is like a Black Panther karate studio. Now, this is different than the bullshit we would see now, because now he would be like, white people racist and the white people goofballs and shit. But this is, you notice it's all men, who are training. Men training to protect their community and protect their families. Right. And he's part of it. And he's basically, this is a scene where he's going in the classroom and he's saying goodbye to his friend who's running the class. He's letting him know, I'm leaving, peace out. And he starts walking home, and these 2 cops pull up on him. And we saw, my brother would say, we still say this to each other. They just pull up, hop out of the car, and one of the cops goes, hey, where you going, Jig? And he's like, he doesn't say anything. And they knock his suitcase out of his hand, and they take his bag, and they go through his bag, and he goes, oh, this Jig's going to Hong Kong via Hawaii. And then he takes out his nightstick, and he goes, this Jig's not going anywhere. And then, Jim Kelly's like, I'm going, and so he, and like breaks the fucking cop's nightstick. And he's like, oh, he wants to play. And he ends up kicking the shit out of both these cops. One of the cops he throws through a fence, and a German Shepherd tears his ass up. And then he hops in the police car and drives to the fucking airport in a stolen police car. And then, hops on the plane. But this is a bit of early woke where, the black man. He can't even walk around without the white cops fucking with him. Blah blah blah.
But I would push back and say it's not woke, and I'll tell you why. Because it isn't saying all white people are bad. It's saying these guys are some bad guys. You know what I mean? Because woke to me is always a worldview. It's like,
Okay.
you know what I mean? Like it's because if this were truly woke, you couldn't have this character. You couldn't have John Saxon. You could not have the dashing, brave, alpha male white guy. He wouldn't be part of this if this were woke. But maybe it's a little bit of proto woke, a little pre woke.
Yeah, I think this is definitely a commentary on police brutality. But who was that? Captain Haruno who asked, "What's a jig?"
I think he's being funny.
Oh, well, in case you're not, the jig is short for jigaboo.
What does that mean other than an offensive name for black people? Does that word have an origin?
That's about it. That's about it.
Nobody knows what it means. Nobody knows where it came from, that word.
No, it's like, oh, I went to the store and they had some fresh jigaboos. No,
Were they
that's pretty
delicious?
much, that's what it means, is that. And so, yeah, that's what they were telling him and shit. And that, he takes the cop car, drives to the airport, hops on the plane, and ends up in Hong Kong.
That's a boss move, though. He just goes to the airport, the stolen cop car is like, all right, I got to catch my flight. I'll see you guys later.
But, back then, the cops didn't have cell phones. There's no way to radio in.
No GPS,
so they gotta jog back to the fucking police station.
Right.
And so, yeah, he took the car, fucking bounced. And so they end up in Hong Kong, and all the guys end up on this boat. And they're like betting on praying mantises. And of course, Roper.
Yeah, he's a degenerate gambler. That's why he's in this situation.
Bets on everything. He would bet if he was standing next to a dude at a urinal, he'd bet that he'd get done pissing before him. He has to bet. So he's betting on the praying mantises. And so Bruce Lee is there, and he goes, I'll take some of this action. He's like, which one do you pick? And he's like, I picked that one. And Bruce is like, okay. And Bruce Lee obviously knows more about this than him because he picks the right praying mantis. And John Saxon's praying mantis gets fucked up. He has to pay Bruce Lee. And then he sees Williams, and it turns out they're both from Nam. Because Williams asks, hey, man, he's like, Roper, what's up? He's like, oh, Williams. And he's like, well, what you been doing since Nam? He's like, oh, hanging out. So these guys are both, former, have combat experience in Nam. That's how they met. And because this is, 2 years after Vietnam ended. So, it's very likely that you're going to have a lot of guys who serve. And so he loses, and Bruce Lee kind of smirks and shit, takes his money. And he says something along the lines of, I'm gonna win that back. So this guy, he's from Australia. So Roper and Williams are talking like, oh, that's so-and-so from Australia. So they recognize this guy. So obviously they have all the best fighters from around the world. So he recognizes this guy. And so this guy fucks with a little kid, because there's civilians on this boat too. And so this little kid has like a basket of oranges or apples or some shit. And he walks by, and this guy trips the kid, and the kid's fucking trying to pick up the apples, and he kicks the kid and like knocks him into the luggage and shit. He's just a fucking asshole. So Bruce Lee's over there chilling. Bruce Lee's over there looking off into the distance, picturing fucking everybody up in the tournament. And this guy comes up to him, and he starts throwing punches in his face, like, getting inches away from him and shit. Acting like he's gonna throw elbows.
Just such a dummy, dude. Just
fucking meathead, right? And so he goes, "Do I bother you?" This is another thing that me and my friends and my brother would say to each other for years. And he tells Bruce Lee, "Do I bother you?" And he tells him, "Don't waste yourself." And he goes, he's like, "What's your style?" He's like, "My style, I call it the art of fighting without fighting." And he goes, "Show me some of it." And he's like, nah. And then he grabs it. Bruce Lee goes, nah. And he goes to walk away. And the guy puts his hands on his shoulder and stops him. And he looks down at his hand. And so you're thinking, oh, he's about to tear this dude's ass up right here. And he goes, don't you think we need more room? And he's like, because everybody's luggage is everywhere. He's like, where? And he goes, that island. He points off to the distance. We could take this boat. There's like a little small boat that they're towing along with them. He goes, we can take this boat. And he says, okay. And so his dumbass goes to get on the boat, and Bruce Lee acts like he's going to get off the boat too. And he unties it, and now the guy's on the boat by himself, floating away. And he goes, hey, what are you doing? And he goes, don't try and pull yourself up, or I'll let go of the line. He's like, hey, you're crazy. What are you doing? And like he's standing on the front of the little boat, so water's like splashing in it and shit, and it's starting to sink. and he waves his hand in front of the kid that he fucking knocked over and kicked, and he gives him the rope and lets him hold the rope and fuck with the dude.
Yeah, that guy was like a, I don't know, comedy relief, like a throwaway jackass character, you know.
Yeah, he fucked him up, dude. And Secretary Not Sure, that's because I've seen this movie 100 times and I've been mimicking this my whole life. Just talking. I'll call my brother, and if I text my brother, I'll be like, "What's up, Jig?" You know, like that. We've just been saying this for years, so that's why I've gotten kind of.
Now, here's a little bit of trivia. Two comments kind of going together. This is from the inspired Bloodsport, and Bloodsport ignited a love in my life of Van Damme movies and all that. But in this movie, you have "Boy, Don't Hit Back." What does Chong Li say in Bloodsport that's an homage to this line?
Oh, he says bricks don't hit back.
Right, off the dim mak. Remember, Van Damme does the dim mak, the death touch or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this started the whole tournament, best fighters from around the world.
I mean, you could draw a line. Think about this culturally. From this movie to the UFC's existence, and I'll show it to you. This movie inspires a young Van Damme and all that generation of people. They go on in the 80s to make, the American Ninja series, all those, and then you get Bloodsport and Kickboxer. Those tournament fighter movies with all the different disciplines of martial arts coming together from around the world in Bloodsport. Think about the Street Fighter video game. What was bigger than the Street Fighter video game in like 1991, 92? Nothing. The Street Fighter video game was a phenomenon, like Justin Bieber, like the Beatles. It was the biggest thing in the world. You get the Street Fighter video game. Well, just a scant 4 years later, you have UFC Ultimate Fighting Championship, mixed martial arts, no weight requirements. Anybody could fight anybody, different styles, boxer, sumo wrestler, kickboxer. It's transformed now. Most people do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, and regular American boxing, Western boxing. But I believe that this movie, Bloodsport, those inspired the people who got excited to do the UFC, which I think is the greatest sport going right now. What do you think of my theory?
Makes sense.
Well, I think that people were inspired, So
it makes sense, especially when you're a kid watching this.
Right.
It has such an effect on you. I'm sure it did inspire those people who had the means to create that.
Right.
But this fucking asshole right here, and he comes back later on. This guy gets his ass kicked later.
I wish he just went away in the boat and got eaten by a shark or something like that. It would have been fitting to this jackass.
No, it's not good enough because he's such an asshole for kicking that kid like that for no reason. The kid was like 12. Like, you know what I mean? It wasn't like he was 18 or 19. It's like a little kid, and he fucking kicks him, you piece of shit.
So I love this. They get to the island. There's all kinds of people waiting to greet them and get them off the boat, but not to greet them like this with the stink eye,
And that's Bolo Young, who was Chong Li in Bloodsport.
Right. That's Chong Li.
Probably why he said that. That's him young. Look, he's got to be like fucking his 20s or something.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, this movie is a good 51, 52 years old, and Chong Li's like 72 or 75. So Chong Li's in his early 20s here.
Yeah.
Bolo Young, not Chong Li, Bolo Young. So
they're pulling up to the island, and I always remember the music like dun dun, getting all scary and shit because they've arrived.
Cool. Cool. Hung out with Tito Ortiz at a kickboxing match in Buena Park in 2000.
Wow. Tito Ortiz, what was he? The Huntington Badass or something?
Something like that.
Yeah.
He's running for some office out here in California. He's a conservative. He's a Trump guy.
Yeah.
So hope he wins.
Hates Dana White, that's for sure.
Yeah. So here I call Roper, that's his character's name, Roper, John Saxon. I call him fake James Bond. Because I would believe him he's got those good looks like a George Clooney, like a don't you think? That's what he looks like to me. He looks like a James Bond kind of guy.
Yeah, I bet he was killing that.
Oh my gosh,
Bush back in the day.
Pre-AIDS, Adam Carolla always jokes the best time to be a celebrity was pre-AIDS, mid-cocaine.
Oh man, dude, he was killing that 70s Bush back then. He was a Bushmaster for sure. But if you go back one, see that chick in the back with the blue top and the white pants? Right. She's like in charge of the ladies of the night on the island. So in the next one, where him and Bruce Lee are sitting next to each other, he's eyeballing that chick, just looking at her, starting to spit some game. And Bruce Lee is like, oh, Roper, how silly. He's like, basically, I think he's saying, you're focused on something else. We're here to do something, and you're already focused on other things.
Oh, I think I'm being corrected. Maybe Tito Ortiz ran for something in the last election in 2020 or 2022. According to Diesel, he moved to Florida and became a sheriff down there. Okay, thank you for the update on that. So, and Captain Haruno is laughing. He's saying the Bushmaster. So there you go. And then I do like how they, even though it's an evil criminal, he deals in heroin and probably illegal weapons and ladies. He deals in everything bad.
Yeah.
Ron. He does have the manners to have porters bring your bags to your room.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Underneath it all, he still
Right.
has customer service at heart.
And then you get the practicing at the ruins. You know, they have their martial arts training that all these people on his island do. And this is a tiny bit of a nod I think Van Damme gives in Bloodsport, where he's practicing at the temple and all that. And, you know, and it looks like similar long-walled ruins and all that. So I think Van Damme was probably thinking about that when they were doing his training montages. I don't know. So
could be. And again, you had a guy on set who was on this set, you know, so I think there's definitely some connection there.
The Horror of One. Gabe and Jericho, did this movie inspire, I think he meant to write, you guys to do martial arts? I was watching this movie last night. I think one of the best martial artists on film, obviously Bruce Lee. To me, it's Van Damme, Bruce Lee, Benny the Jet, and Jackie Chan. They do things in front of the camera that are just unreal, those four guys. And I was telling my wife, watching some of these flying kicks and spins, how many brothers and cousins, boys, got black eyes and chipped teeth and broken arms watching these movies and then doing it to their cousin or brother off the couch. Or
Oh,
you know,
yeah. And I haven't.
You just like fly and land on your brother with a knee or something.
And I was the younger brother, so my brother would do this shit to me all the time.
Right.
But you put Van Damme before Bruce Lee?
No, I put the greatest on-screen fight I've ever seen. I've said it to you before. The fight in Wheels on Meals.
Yeah,
it's backward. I want to say Meals on Wheels, but it's Wheels on Meals. Benny the Jet and Jackie Chan fight in that like fancy room. That's like the coolest fight I've ever seen in a movie. And yes, I put Van Damme ahead. I think no one looks better on film fighting than Van Damme. Van Damme was did ballet, and no one moves like him in front of the camera.
Well, Bruce Lee was a championship dancer in Hong Kong.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I like Van Damme, but we're talking 1A and 1B. Like, come on.
No.
We're talking. It's not. I'm not comparing crunchy and then creamy, the garbage creamy peanut butter. It's not like that.
No.
You know, to me, this is Van Damme is 100. Bruce Lee is 99.9. He's just the tiniest bit less. Yeah.
Bruce Lee birthed Jean-Claude Van Damme.
No,
Jackie Chan was in this movie as an extra.
Sorry. I don't make the rules, Jericho. I just observe it.
No, there's no rule that says that. There's no way. All respect to Van Damme, he is not above Bruce Lee when it comes to
Enough said.
No.
Enough said.
Let's see what the people think.
Jericho, Bruce Lee was the cha-cha dancing champion.
He was.
Let's see.
There's no way in the world.
Van Damme got to do more movies in America. Well, that's not fair, Mr. E. Fucking Bruce Lee died. That's not Bruce Lee's fault.
Dead. No, man. Bruce Lee is the greatest movie martial artist in the world. He's number
Van
one.
Damme. He is the greatest one after Van Damme.
He is number one. Then
Jericho.
Van Damme and the rest can fight over the scraps.
This channel is called Double Impact.
Great.
Van Damme.
That's great. But Van Damme was probably inspired by Bruce Lee. You have Jackie Chan, who's in your opinion, the greatest fight scene ever. He was in this movie, and Van Damme inspired this channel, Double Impact. And who was in Double Impact and Bloodsport? Bolo Young,
right?
Who was in Bruce Lee's movie.
Okay, I'm starting to poll. We'll settle it with the poll.
Yeah, let's.
All right, here's the poll. Jericho's wrong, yes, or completely?
No.
So there you go.
That's horse shit.
I love my crooked Joe Biden polls that I do.
No fucking way. There is no Van Damme.
Look at that. You're being blown out. I'm sorry, the people spoken.
Yeah, you guys can blow me out all you want.
Van Damme was not in Enter the Dragon. Boom. I think Van Damme was like 12 when this came out,
Yeah,
man.
so fucking kid.
Stop the vote. There's a pipe leaking in Georgia. Stop the vote.
Yep. We'll count the votes while we sleep tonight.
Right.
Got a bunch of votes. Fuck that.
I said it's Van Damme is 100. Bruce Lee is 99.9.
No, it can't be. It can't be. No.
Listen.
The guy that's in 2 of Van Damme's biggest movies was in this movie working for Bruce Lee.
That's right. And he was only in one of Bruce Lee's movies.
No, it's just fucking ridiculous.
No, we can't compare the number of movies because, he died and that's not his fault.
No, but I'm just saying, in Van Damme, 2 of his biggest movies, there's a character, an actor who was in Bruce Lee movie.
Okay, and
that came before.
Bruce Lee didn't defeat Chong Li. He let Roper do it because I think he may have been afraid.
But do you think Bruce Lee could have?
With the chalk in his eyes.
No, Bruce Lee was gonna fuck him up, and then Saxon or Roper stepped in front of him. Bruce Lee would have walked through Bolo Young.
I mean,
if Roper could beat him, Bruce Lee would have fucked him up. That is just
speculation on your part.
I think
let's be honest.
I think
we don't have any actual proof of your theory. It's a good theory. We don't know.
It's a great theory.
I'm gonna end the poll. And would you look there? It looks like I won the poll. So Van Damme.
I got another poll right here that you guys can fucking take.
Did Van Damme fight Chuck Norris? No. Van Damme trained him back in like 82 or 83. I could show you that.
No fucking way Van Damme trained Chuck Norris.
Okay.
And Chuck Norris was in whose movie?
Look at this. Bruce Lee. Look at this.
Return of the Dragon.
Look at this. Chuck Norris and Van Damme, martial arts training. Now, I won't play too much. I don't want to get a YouTube thing out.
Chuck Norris and Van Damme training together. Van Damme's not training Chuck Norris.
Okay.
Looks to me like Chuck Norris is training him on how to do a fucking kick, a spinning back kick.
Listen to what Chuck Norris is saying. Van Damme was way better than Bruce Lee when we would train. You see that?
Chuck Norris's voice. We can't even hear Chuck Norris's voice. Our ears will fucking melt. Can't even hear that man's voice.
Okay, I got the showstopper.
Van Damme.
Okay,
Van Damme
I got you beat with this one.
I got you beat
with this one. Here we go. Jean-Claude Van Damme was the original Predator on the set of the Predator movie filming in Mexico. Did Bruce Lee do that?
Well, he wasn't alive.
All right, then. I rest.
But he wasn't even in. That's not even the suit they use. That's some prototype shit.
You know why they had to change it? Because he was too badass, and Arnold
because he couldn't fucking hold the suit. He started crying.
Got afraid and thought the alien was real, and they were going to.
He got afraid, and his Belgian pussy started swelling up, and they had to take him out of the suit.
Look at that! Look at Van Damme as the alien. Look at that shit.
Terrible.
Look right at it.
That's terrible.
Bruce Lee couldn't have done that. There's no way. Thank God they changed it.
Bruce Lee would have kicked his way out of that costume. He would have did one kick, and the costume would have exploded.
I really doubt that. I really doubt that. I mean, we took a poll. The people have spoken.
No, some people voted.
Mom, Dad, and Dad are fighting.
Fuck that. You know I'm right.
Bruce Lee. I mean, he's no Steven Seagal.
Thank God.
If I wanted to piss you off, that would be the argument I would try to make.
You've already pissed me off.
All right. I do think Steven Seagal is more entertaining to me than Bruce Lee insofar as it's funnier. It's definitely funnier. And if I'm in the mood to laugh.
I don't think comedy was Bruce Lee's thing.
But like when you sit around with your boys, don't you want to like you watch the movie, then you turn and look at each other and laugh? I can't do that in a Bruce Lee movie. I love his movies. They're awesome.
He's fucking serious. That's why.
But they aren't for, they're not.
They're not comedies.
No, they're not funny.
They're not funny. No.
Ooh. Jean-Claude Van Damme was in Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Ooh.
There you go.
The budget on that movie was $27.
And 26 of that was spent on cocaine.
Exactly. They got an 8-ball with that.
Am I going to be at San Diego Comic-Con this year? I have been at San Diego Comic-Con every year since 1996. I was in Artist Alley from 2007 until like 2019. And I have my own booth now. Starting last year. Jericho was there last year. Dean Cain was there last year. I have my own booth. I think it's 1705. It's a nice booth. We're going to have a lot of stuff there. I'm not going to spoil it. I've got some great announcements coming during Comic-Con. And we are working on a live event in the 7 years up until the 2020 lockdown. The night of Comic-Con, the Wednesday preview night, where they do just a few hours at the convention center, I have a party at Bar Basic on 410 10th Street, 10th and J. It's a corner of 10th and J, right behind the San Diego Padres Stadium, just 3 blocks from the San Diego Convention Center. I have a party that I host there. It is awesome. What I did for 7 years until the lockdown was me and my friends from Marvel and DC, we would auction off original drawings and books and statues and toys for a comic book charity. And I am putting together that event again. Really fun. There's no entry fee or anything as of now. And I'll have more details on that. I'm talking to some big name friends of mine about being there. They will let me know. They're checking out with their people on their schedules. And this is going to be a blast. I'd love to have that event and announce the book I'm not announcing till Comic-Con that you guys are all going to fall in love with the moment you see it. You already love it. You just don't even know. But yeah, we're going to have some events. We're going to have the booth there. Come by, say hello, buy some of those first printing Dean Cains that I have left in stock. I have a few autographed editions that I've held back. So I'll have those because those are very limited. And we'll have a preview of some other stuff. I'm planning to print up a preview comic that you can only get at Comic-Con this year, and I won't print it again, of Dean Cain Hong Kong Connection. Little preview of that. Of the unnamed book that I will not mention to you guys. This book right here where I cover up the title and the face of the character. I'm working on the sketch today. A little bit of Jericho Green and the Hammerheads. If you love the Goonies and Stranger Things, we got you covered, me and Jericho. It's comedy adventure with kids. And of Imperium, the beautiful, amazing sci-fi that Akion, the artist for Dean Cain Volume 1, he's doing that. I'm planning on making a preview magazine of all those that people can buy at my booth there. So, yeah, we're going to have a blast. Please come by San Diego Comic-Con, July 24th through the 28th. And my birthday is July 24th. So if we do that big party, it'll be my birthday party. So lots more info coming. Follow me on all social medias. I'm doing my best to get Jericho to come. We'll see how that works out.
Well,
but, we got
come
other
to Comic-Con, not come in general. I can do that.
Well, hey, you know,
to Comic-Con, yes. You got to finish that sentence.
Yeah. So yeah, you coming, dude?
Yeah, give me a minute.
So that's the answer to your question. This is my Super Bowl. I love it. It's home field advantage. I live in San Diego. I live very close to the convention center, actually. And let's see. Diesel said you were going to be there last year.
Booker.
San
That's
Bernardino's
that Raider
finest.
promise. You know, a Raider
That's
promise.
that Raider promise. Hey, maybe next year, Vato.
Hey, I'll be there. Well, I just need to get parole.
Hey, you think you could help me with my ankle bracelet so I could go?
Hey, you think you could help me with my GED or what?
Hey, my tío can do your ankle bracelet, Vato.
Hey, help me spell GED, fool.
How do you spell GED?
What's the number to 911? Fucking Raider
Diesel,
fan.
please come. You told me you were coming down there last year, so we'll see you.
You're way closer than me, and I was there.
Right. Follow me on all social medias. I use Gabe LT everywhere except for Twitter, X. I use Big Man Comics on X. Follow me on all social medias, guys. Hit the like, share all this. And yes, we will have a blast at Comic-Con. I love meeting the fans and the buddies in person. It's a good time. So
And
I was gonna go,
me.
but the Raiders not winning got me real in the dumps, Vato.
Got me all fucked up. That fucked up. And follow me on X too, at @green_Jericho.
Right. Jericho's back on X, but he's not being a hooligan. He's like posting nice things, interesting.
I'm hoping you posting funny shit.
To do the kind of shit that got you kicked off Twitter in the first place. That's what I need you for, okay?
No problem. I will awaken that beast.
Okay, I'm gonna try to be there. I'll be more realistic. I have to ask my old lady.
Yeah, well, you got your parole officer. You can leave the county, fool.
Hey.
Come on, it's Comic-Con, fool.
All right. So we see they the porters bring their bags in.
Porters.
So if you're going to an evil villain's lair on his island, do you tip these guys, Jericho? You think you tip them? All right.
You better. And that's all Roper shit, by the way.
Right. Yeah, Roper. What do you got in them bags, buddy?
Dude, fits.
These all rubbers. When you look like this, those 5 suitcases are full of condoms.
Yes. No condoms. 70s, early 70s. They're full of fucking Speedos and shit. Fucking bell bottoms. This dude's a psycho.
Hey, Holmes, you made me look like a cholo.
Hey, I am a cholo, fool.
Oh, man. So
yeah,
they go in, they're having a big dinner and a party. There's some sumo wrestlers fighting in the middle of the room.
court jesters rolling around doing flips and stuff, dancers. It's just a big party. The fighters are eating and scoping out their competition. It's having a good time. Party time.
You know, sumos are supposed to be really fat and huge. I feel like the average person I see at Walmart or something looks like one of these guys. These guys aren't even fat by 2024 standards.
No, but back then these guys were fucking huge.
Yeah, back then this is like a mountain of a man.
They were disgusting.
I was at Walmart last week. I never go to Walmart. But there's one by my dad's house, and when I was helping take care of him, he had me run out there and get a little medicine and a watermelon. He loves watermelon. I always eat it at his house. I love a good watermelon. And I went over there and got that for him. And I don't think I've been to a Walmart in I don't know. I go like once or twice a year. I have to go there to get something, and I couldn't stand that place. I don't know if I'm being a snob, but it just that place. I don't know.
It's okay. It's fucking Walmart. Look at the staff that works at Walmart. There's a Walmart near where I live in Marysville. They look like Walmart. Toothless. I went there yesterday. This dude brought a fucking pit bull into Walmart. And it was like, when he was walking in there, it was like jumping around and playing with them and shit. It's not a fucking service dog. Security didn't even tell the fool to fucking leave. They're standing like at the end of the aisle looking at him. And the lady, I went to one and it wasn't taking my card. She goes, "Oh, this one's cash. Toothless." You can tell this bitch had a parole officer and probably tracks on her fucking arm. I went there a while ago and I asked the lady, hey, I was getting my wife one of those bullets, those magic bullet blenders for my wife for Mother's Day.
All right.
And they had the best price. So I went there and I asked the lady, I said, "Excuse me, where are your blenders?" A blender? Yeah, your blenders. I'm sorry, I don't speak English, sir. I'm so sorry. How the fuck do you get a job at Walmart? You don't speak no damn English. You think you're not going to run into a customer that speaks English at Walmart? Man,
I went
Walmart
with my wife to
sucks.
get Big Baby a Padres t-shirt because we went to the Padre baseball game last week. And the same thing happened. I was buying Big Baby some clothes. And I asked the lady, "Hey, do you have the shirt that matches these pants or whatever?" And no English. And just, how did you get a job?
How the fuck did you get a job? And you don't speak English? I'm sorry, sir. How do you not speak? How long you been here to where you don't speak no damn English, man?
Captain Haruno, I'm putting you in timeout for this comment because it's funny, but it's disgusting. How dare you?
Don't worry, Captain Haruno, I'll let you out. You're out of time.
Funny, but atrocious, my friend.
It's probably true. I'm talking like toothless to the point where it changed the shape of her face.
Now, you were talking earlier when he was talking to his uncle about some of the drip these people are wearing.
Yeah.
Now, look at this guy. I'm telling you, those suitcases were full of condoms.
Balling.
Look at this guy.
Balling.
Just straight, and Williams in the black silk, too.
The turtleneck? Come on, man. You couldn't touch these dudes. You couldn't tell these dudes shit.
And look at this guy. He's coming in. Today's ingredient, mung beans on Iron Chef.
Mung bean. Yeah, man. The Iron Chef, dude, the Iron Chef Japan guy.
Well, the Iron Chef always had that vibe, that show, that it was like a tournament fight with the crazy uncle who runs the Iron Chef Academy or whatever, you know?
And Mark Dacascos, who's the nephew of that guy, continued that tradition with the American Iron Chef. He's very animated and, you know.
Dude, I love Iron Chef. I remember living in my apartment in Poway, California. That's North County, San Diego. And I discovered the Food Network on Halloween. I was flipping channels. My kids were real little. Like Peter was a few months old. He's 24 now, and 25. And my daughter was, 2. And I was flipping channels, and I saw Emeril Lagasse. Bam! I saw him in a Dracula face paint, like white, and he had the slick back with the widow's peak and like blood on his mouth. I was like, what's this guy doing? He's cooking dressed like Dracula. And I watched the Food Network, and I fell in love with that channel. I don't watch a lot of TV, but I would tune in for the old 1980s and 90s Iron Chef. I loved that show. Love that show.
I like Iron Chef because if you're a cook or you like to cook, it's your dream. They have every doodad, doohickey, contraption, tool.
I hate how people always get loose with the ice cream maker and they're putting garlic in there and fish.
Yeah,
like, just stop.
Don't do that. Just make regular ice cream, you piece of shit.
Ice cream isn't hard, by the way. Sugar, milk, butter,
everything.
Everything.
Anything any contraption you need to cook, it's like Sharper Image threw up in there. They have everything. I'm always like, man, the knives. I'm like, damn, dude, I always liked that kitchen stadium.
the voiceover people, because okay, so Iron Chef was the cooking competition show from Japan, and it was broadcast in Japanese. And then when they brought it to America for syndication over here in the 90s, they dubbed it with some people who talk like they were just like really excited and weird about translating this. And oh, I think it's very delicious. And it was really weird, all breathy and strange like that. But I loved it. I don't know. I loved the voiceover. I thought it was really funny. So yeah, I don't know. The Iron Chef.
This is very creamy. Ooh, the texture is really nice.
Ota, can you go down there and ask Iron Chef Morimoto what is he doing with the uni row? You know? Oh, he's saying he was trying to prepare it with a French preparation. And the woman would go, ooh, that sounds good.
It'd be funny if you just take a big old knife and just cut their head off. Don't disturb me.
Jericho, aren't you excited that Assassin's Creed decided to bring out a black samurai, quote unquote? Do you know about this, Jericho? Do you know what he's talking about?
No, I don't play Assassin's Creed, but
Assassin's
of course
Creed?
they would do that. There are no black
Assassin's Creed on your PlayStation? Well, you know the World of Woke, right? The World of Woke is... I'm
familiar with the game, but of course...
Okay, so the brand new Assassin's Creed, it's like a stealth game. You're an assassin. I don't play games either because I don't have time. I run a business.
But it takes place like in the 1700s or something, right?
It takes place all over. They go to Egypt in one version. They go to revolutionary American colonies. They go to Greece, I believe. They go throughout history. Different characters are being this assassin. The latest one takes place in like feudal Japan, where you're going to be like a samurai character. Would you like to see the main character that they have in the game? This is Japan. These games are so historically accurate. I mean, they really are, and I'm not kidding. Up until recently, they've been very accurate.
But feudal Japan, you're talking the 1500s, 1600s. Long time ago.
This is the main character.
Oh, my God. Why couldn't you make him a Japanese dude?
Well, you don't have to play him. You could play as a woman, the one in the blue there. So you can play as a woman or as the black guy. Because
neither one of those
hard to find a Japanese guy on the island of Japan, right?
Yeah, there's none.
There's not a lot. There were a lot of black dudes that were samurais.
It's all Japanese women and black men in Japan. And they're all getting blown out by the big old Mandingo samurais.
I like this here. So they have the party, they have the dinner. Williams, Roper, and Bruce Lee all retired to their rooms. And remember, they're here to spy. Well, Bruce Lee, at least, he's here to spy on Han, the Iron Chef Lord, and figure out how to his drug operation and all his like human trafficking. And he does it all. He's a bad dude.
He has his hand in all kinds of different cookies.
He's a very bad guy. They go to their rooms. They're being treated wink, wink, really nice. And they're going to fight in that every 3 years tournament, the three guys. And I love this scene here because he's in his room, bebop and listen to his headphones. And this lady comes in.
Hold on. Back at the tournament or the dinner, they have these girls come out. Those girls that are standing behind Han in the yellow. They toss an apple up. Somebody tosses an apple in the air, and the girls have these darts with these like tassels on them. And she blows the dart, and it sticks in the apple. And the fighters are supposed to catch it. And there's a different tassel with this little like medallion thing or keychain kind of thing, and they're all different for each one. So Mei Ling, that's the second one right there. That's one of the people also infiltrating for like MI6.
Yeah, she's a spy on the same side as Bruce, right?
Yeah, and so they throw the apple, she blows the thing, the dart sticks in his, and he catches it, pulls it out, and then so after this, the guys retire to your room. Of course, the black guy has headphones on, bopping around to some fucking funk, and they go around to each room with women. Like, you guys have.
I just love this look on his face. Is why I have this here.
He goes, "Who, me?" Like, "Oh shit, you brought those girls for me?" So, everybody has a full stomach, so now they need empty balls. So they walk around with like 10, 15 girls in each man's room, and he picks. He's all, "Which one do you like?" And he goes, "Oh, for me? Yeah, terrible dubbing, by the way. For me?" And so he goes, "I'll pick you, you, and you. Forgive me, I am a little tired. So like I can only pick 3 bitches to blow their backs out tonight." And so they all stay, and she goes to the next room, And then she goes to Bruce Lee's room, and he's like, hi ladies, what's up? And he goes, bring me the girl who gave me this dart in the apple. This is who I want. She goes, oh, I know who that is, Mr. Lee. And his name is Bruce Lee in this movie too, by the way. And she goes, oh yeah, right away, Mr. Lee. And so he brings him Mei Ling, and so they start talking about what's going on. What do you know? What's this? What's that? And she tells him about this certain area on the island where he does all the shit, makes all these drugs. And so he's like, okay, cool. That's where I'll hit first. And so then they go to fucking Roper's room, and she's all in the main lady's
Well,
like,
hold
you
on,
see
real
any?
quick. We get this training.
No,
and
this
then
is
we get-
after.
Well,
This is the next morning.
Oh, I guess I don't have those stuff with Roper.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's the next morning. So the last room they go to is Roper, and the madam or whatever. She says, "Do you see anything you like?" And he looks at her and goes, "Yeah, I do." So he wants her. He don't want those other chicks. He wants the main one. She stays with him, and then the next morning, and then that's you see the titty scene where she's in his room with like wearing a dress shirt, one of his dress shirts, and it's open. You see her titties and all that. And then the next morning.
Hold on, let me
Bruce,
address this comment by the Brian
okay.
Christgau. He says Bruce Lee is the human equivalent of the motorcycle jacket. He will always be cool. Agreed.
Right. Hey,
Agreed.
Always. Brian. And so the next morning, you have hold on a second. So after Williams is done smashing all three of the girls, a couple of them are laid out. One of them brushing her hair. And he walks outside, and she goes, you cannot go outside. You must stay in here. He goes like, oh, watch me. Bye-bye. And he goes outside like on the patio to like, do some moves. He's like doing some moves and shit. And then that's when Bruce Lee goes to that part of the island where she told her everything's going, and he's sneaking around. And so he puts a rope around this thing, lowers himself down. You see the factory.
Is that yet? Because I took pictures in order of them. Are you sure that's
okay? Well, I'll wait because I'm pretty sure. Because unless the girls are there 2 nights, because it's after he bangs them, she says, you can't go outside. And he's like, watch me. But we'll see. We'll just go in the order.
Okay.
But this is the next morning. And Bruce Lee, of course, he ain't got time to sleep. He's up training and shit. And that's O'Hara, the guy who forced his sister to kill herself.
That's the slash he got in that attack.
That's the scar. And so Bruce he does a kick, right? And he holds the kick. He holds the kick up and he turns around with his foot still in the air. And O'Hara goes, you will attend the morning ritual. And then Bruce Lee looks at him with his foot still up in the air and he goes, outside. And then he leaves and he slowly lowers his foot. And then he does another combo. And then boom, it cuts to this scene right here with him. Yeah. Everybody's training and shit.
Yeah, it's an interesting. I
wanted
to say, so Han, I don't know if this was intentional or not. But my friend, Akion, who drew Dean Cain All-American Lawman, I noticed that our main villain in that, Ming, physically resembles Han. I think the hair is like. Do you see it?
Yeah, that would make total sense for him to.
You see that though, the haircut and everything. I mean, the hair's white, but I totally see it. I wonder. I'll have to ask him. Was that intentional or what's the deal?
Yeah, and Han also reminds me of one of the bad guys from Mad Max Beyond the Thunderdome too.
Yeah,
that hair slicked back, the widow's peak right there and shit. But that's Mei Ling, whatever her name is.
Right.
That's working with Bruce Lee, and she's like feeding some grapes while he watches people kick each other's ass on a very opulent chair, throne, or whatever that is.
Hold on a second. I want to show one more thing that I think looks the same. Like, look at it here. Don't you think that looks like Han, though? Just the facial structure, the nose, the cheeks. I really do think they look the same. I don't know. The thick hair. Again, our guy's hair is white, but I don't know. I'll have to ask him if that was intentional or what the deal was. Okay. We got to have a little chit chat here.
There's Hitler.
Because, they're having a fight. Roper, the gambling degenerate. That's how he got in this mess, right? He owes dudes money. He's gambling on praying mantises. This guy never saw anything he didn't want to bet on. The mustache. It's a curious little fellow here.
Ooh, only 3 people in history pulled that off successfully.
4. Hitler.
This guy.
Charlie Chaplin. This guy. And Michael Jordan.
Yep.
Yeah.
He nailed it, though. And
That's a
this
choice, man. That
let's
is
talk
a
about
choice.
those glasses. Like he can see molecules with those fucking glasses. Jeez, those things are thick as fuck.
You can see what people are thinking with those glasses.
Damn, you can see smell with those damn glasses.
You know, in the military, what they call the free military glasses, right? The BC glasses.
Birth controls. Yep.
Right.
I've seen. Right. I saw some of my buddies get those slapped on their face too. But he has a thing going with Roper that he'll give him a signal when it's time for Roper to start or time for Williams. He'll let Williams know, give him a signal when it's time to whoop the guy's ass because he wants to bait the guy in a bet, like, oh, we'll bet, you know, blah, 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 whatever. And then so he sees Williams getting his ass kicked a little bit, and that Asian dude's getting confident, like, oh, man, I got this guy. I'm going to fucking win. And then he gives Williams a signal, and Williams just destroys the dude. But it's the Australian guy who they put in the boat because he was picking on that kid.
The guy that kicked that kid or whatever. What a jackass.
Yeah, he gets his ass whooped right here. Yeah. And so, yeah, Williams lets him mess around, and then he just gets pissed and just kicks the shit out of him. So he wins the money. And then same thing here. Williams bets the same guy. He sits next to the same guy and bets him. And so Roper's taking an ass whooping, and he looks over at Williams like, dude, come on, this kid's going to kill me. And then he gives him the signal, and he just blocks the guy's hand, and it goes low and punches him in his balls.
And some of the stunts these guys do, Roper and all that, they're pretty legit. He does that one great move, Roper, later, I think, when he's fighting Bolo Young, where he's on his back, and he does the kick thing where they jump and stand up. Like, wow. And it seemed like it was really him and not a stunt man. So, I didn't expect that. I thought he was just a pretty boy actor or whatever. And then later, of course, he needs a back massage from this.
So, this is the scene. You were right. So this is later. So the whores do come back for a second night. And what a great deal for the fighters. You fight, you get bruised up a little bit. Then you get some Hong Kong.
You get to fight, which is awesome. You get to eat delicious food from this rich villain. You know he has the best of the best food.
The best.
And then no creamy peanut butter on this island. Only crunchy.
None of that chunky
And then
shit.
You get your pick of a woman of the night.
Dude.
You know?
Top off the day.
What a
day.
He
picked the main one. She's like walking on his back, and then he turns over. That's when she falls down. Her shirt comes over, and you see those.
Oops.
Whoops, my titties are everywhere.
Oh, no.
Whoopsie daisy. And so, Williams, he's smashing those three girls again. And that's when she goes.
I had to navigate when I was photographing this scene. So just the lady from the back.
Yeah, there's titties everywhere in these scenes. And
it was a flock of titties. You ever look up and you see the geese? They're flying a big V formation. This scene was like that. Just it was boobs in a V formation.
Yeah, this is
flying around the room,
man. Beautiful film. And Williams
the boobs, they were going south for the winter.
Ew. And Williams dude's yoked up. And she goes, "Where you go?" He goes, "Out in the moonlight, baby." She's all, "You can't. You stay in here." "Oh yeah, bye. And then he goes out on the little terrace or whatever, and he's doing some martial arts moves and training. And then he looks up and sees Bruce Lee in this like all black, like onesie suit, kind of cat suit thing, climbing the walls. And that's when he's him right there hiding behind, the thing hiding from the roving patrol. And he lowers himself down on a rope into this like underground layer. And then he finds Han's operation with drugs and the women he keeps in there like all doped up and shit.
It's a fun scene.
He keeps people who like the dissenters or whatever in jail. They wear all black, and he just imprisons these people who won't go along. He just throws them in jail.
Right. Yeah. So he leaves the bedroom. He's talking to Mei Li. Is her name? Mei Ling. Talking to her, and then he goes out. And he waits he distracts this person, goes through a door, gets outside, gets on the roof. Sneaking around, beating people up that aren't looking. Uses the rope, and he goes down into the underground. And he sees the guys that they got a barrel of heroin or whatever the hell they're up to, these bad guys, and there's people in prison cells and stuff and a lot of bad stuff down here. So now he's done a little surveillance, but he doesn't do anything. He just like scopes it out and he's like, okay, I'll figure it out again tomorrow. I'll go back the next day. So we go back the next morning.
Well, he's coming back up and one of the guards sees the rope that he has secured to lower himself down. And he takes his knife and he cuts it. And then they cut to underground. You see the rope fall to the ground. So you're like, obviously he didn't fall. Where'd he go? And so the guy opens up the thing to look and he hops out. Boom, boom, fucks that dude up. 2 more guys come up, or 3 more guys come up, fucks them up. and then he gets back inside without being caught. And so this scene right here is the next morning, and Han is saying, they bring him in and they shove the guards like in the middle of the circle, and he says, these guards failed at their job and they must pay. And so he goes, Bolo, yeah. And Bolo comes, takes off his
Look at
gi.
Bolo. Look at how just beefy this kid is.
So he pulls off his jacket, all buff and shit. And the guys try to run. The guards try to run to get away from him. And this scene always like grossed me out as a kid. I never liked to watch this scene. There's like 3 or 4 guards, fucks him up, and one of them he takes him and he just holds him in his arms and he just bends him in half and like fucking breaks his back. And you see the guy,
gives him the old accordion.
And the guy's like looking in his eyes, like dying, all scared and shit. That shit always fucked me as a kid.
Ugh.
But yeah, he fucking kills all 4 of the dudes in front of everybody, showing them that, you know, if you fail, you die, and how ruthless and brutal he is. And then this is the best.
I thought it was weird when he was squeezing the guy. He sounded like. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it's a little fucking accordion, like the Banda music. And then he farted. He was like, when he bent him in half. But this is the best scene of the whole movie, when Bruce Lee squares off with O'Hara and it just happens to be that
for his sister's death. You know?
Yeah, responsible for his sister killing herself. And so Bruce Lee fucks him up. And there's a famous scene where they have their hands up like this, and the back of their hands are together. And it just starts whenever. Han already gave the word to go ahead, so their hands are touching. And then whoever wants to start it first, and then Bruce Lee, boom, lightning fast, punches O'Hara in the face, drops him. O'Hara gets up. Same thing. They put their hands back together. Boom, fucking drops him again. Quick, lightning fast. Third time they do it, O'Hara throws his punch first. Bruce Lee blocks it, block. Boom, hits his ass again. And so while O'Hara's down on the ground, he grabs Bruce Lee's foot, and Han goes, O'Hara! Oh, yeah, that's right. You're right, Joe. Before they fight, O'Hara has a wooden board, and he holds the board and he punches it, breaks it in half. And then Bruce Lee looks at him and goes, boards don't hit back.
And then in Bloodsport, Van Damme does the dim mak, where he punches through like 3 bricks and blows up the bottom one to prove his master was who he said it was to get into the Bloodsport tournament. And it's supposed to be impressive and scary, and it is to all the other fighters and the masters there. But Bolo Young, our friend right here, he says, brick not hit back. So that is a direct, obvious nod to this movie.
Yep. And so he tells them, boards don't hit back. And so he has a flashback of his sister killing herself, so he's pissed. So when Bolo goes, or O'Hara goes to grab his foot, and then also in Tekken, there's a character called Law, and he's Bruce Lee, no shirt, cut marks on his stomach, whoa, and all that shit. And that's one of his moves where he flips backwards and kicks you. So O'Hara grabs one of Bruce Lee's feet, and Han goes, O'Hara! And then to stop him, but Bruce Lee jumps, does a backflip, and with one foot kicks the shit out of O'Hara. And then he winds up, slow motion, whoa, boom, slide up side kick, which is devastating. You fuck somebody up if you hit them with a slide up side kick. But that's where he hit him right there, knocked O'Hara back like 15 feet into the spectators. He's all fucked up, right? So Bruce Lee goes, bows to Han, and he's done. But the look on Bruce Lee's face, the look on his face is like, I didn't want to give in to this anger. I didn't want to do that. I know better than that. I didn't want to have to fuck him up like that. So he bows to Han, and he's done. He's obviously just destroyed this dude's sternum. He's going to be thrown up in blood and shit, piss and blood for a week. But O'Hara, you see those 2 bottles on the ground, the green one and the brown one. O'Hara grabs him, and when he does this, he does it again. You hear Han say, O'Hara! Like, even though he's a bad guy who gets women hooked on drugs and kills them and murders and has guys accordion to death and shit, there's still a level of honor here. Like, don't do that. Don't use any weapons. You got beat. So he takes the bottles and he breaks them. He smashes them together and breaks them. So now he has 2 sharp pieces of glass with a handle so he can take Bruce Lee. But he's still halfway fucked up from this kick. So Bruce Lee kicks the bottles out of his hand. He kicks his hand and he drops the bottle. And he gives him a round kick to the back of the head. O'Hara's on the ground. And then here's the famous, he jumps up in the air. And he had to be, I don't know, like 6 feet in the air. He jumps up, bends his legs completely, and then just comes down right on his chest. Boom, you hear the bones
It
break.
does look like a McDojo kind of thing, though.
No, but he actually makes contact.
He does
He
make
actually
contact.
makes
Just the
contact.
way those guys are all holding him, those phony martial arts videos that we watch, it does look like one of those.
But he, jumps up, crushes O'Hara's chest, kills him. He bows again. This time he's done. And then a guy goes up to him, puts his fingers on his neck to check his pulse. And he turns and looks at Han and just goes like this, like the hand across the throat. He's like, nah, he's done. And O'Hara's eyes are still open too. He fucked him up. So he avenged his sister. That's good.
Well, there you go. There you go, O'Hara. Maybe don't chase women around town and threaten them, you jerk ass.
You fucking asshole. Because then her brother's going to find you and jump on your chest and kill you after he kicks the shit out of you. So then after the fight, he summons Williams to his quarters or his office, and he asks him, what were you doing outside of your bedroom last night? He's like, was it me? And he's like, well, I heard that it was you. He goes, you know what, Williams? It is defeat that you must prepare for. And then, Williams, in a classic black guy stereotype, he goes, nope, because when it comes, I'll be too busy looking good. And he's all, you cannot leave. He's all, you can't leave. He goes, suddenly, I would like to leave your island. He's all, you cannot leave. He goes, man, you come straight out of a comic book. And then
right.
The
I took
henchmen
offense
come
to
in
that
the room.
as a comic book American. I took offense to that.
You should be pissed off. You should.
I'm gonna call
reparations.
I'm gonna call Al Sharpton.
Yeah, cancel this movie. Have it, pulled from streaming services.
Right.
And
hashtag enter the bigot is more like it.
Get your justice. So he calls some henchmen in, and Williams is like, man. So he kicks the shit out of these henchmen, no problem. And then, he kicks their ass first, and then he tells Han. Han gets up and he hits one of the guys laying on his desk, and he hits him with his metal hand. He goes, man, you come straight out of a comic book. And then Han gets up.
Him and Han brawl, and Han does a thing I love in action movies. He knocks him through the wall. It's always badass when someone goes through a window or a wall. That's why that rapper said to the windows, to the walls. He was actually talking about action movies.
But then he's talking about the sweat going down his balls.
That is not appetizing.
Skeet.
What a horrible song.
I remember being 23 years old in the club just fucking singing that song. Little window, little wow. Yeah, man, a lot of bad decisions back then. But
what awful! I hate rap music so much.
Well, what was worse is the girls who were singing it in the club. That was worse.
I was a bouncer a couple weekends back in 2008 or 9, making extra money when I first started at Wildstorm. They didn't pay a lot, in case you were wondering. I made a lot of money at DC Comics when I went freelance. When I was on staff at Warner Brothers, they didn't pay so much. And I did a little bit of not bartending, bouncing at my buddy's club, the very club where we're going to have our Comic-Con party. My friend owns that place. And I remember that song was on, and there was a girl just like rapping along to this thin blonde girl who didn't look American. She had that European look, and she's all the horrible, dirty lyrics. I'm just looking at her, and it was a weird moment. I didn't like it.
Skeet. Yeah, and you know what skeeting is, I hope. So, it was.
Hold on, my attorney's on the line. Yes, Captain Haruno. This is the letter my attorney, Mr. Haruno, has drafted for me. He says, "Dear Mr. Sharpton, you made me very sad while watching Into the Dragon, and I demand reparations. Love, Gabe." Sealed. Hang on. This needs some Casey Kasem coming in. "Dear Mr. Sharpton, you made me very sad while watching Enter the Dragon. I demand reparations. Love, Gabe." Sealed with a kiss.
Oh,
there you go.
Al Sharpton loves that.
I like when people like cheated on their girlfriend and they call in on the dedication line on the radio. Consuela, I'm sorry. I just want you back. And they're dedicating some song.
All right, fool. Take them back every time.
Do you mean it, fool? Stupid. Consuela, I thought it was you. It was just your cousin. It was your cousin. It was your cousin Augustina. In my defense, she looks just like you.
My prima? You fucking dick. Yeah, dude. Took him right back. But he has that metal hand. So
Right.
he's beating the shit out of
Oh
Williams.
yeah, we
basically
didn't
hitting him
say
upside
that.
the head.
That Han, he don't have a Han on one of his arms. He's missing it, and he has like go gadget. He puts on different things, but he has this little like thing with 3 claws on it that he pops on there sometimes.
Well, this one he just has like basically a solid metal fist with a glove over it. So he's clubbing Williams over the head with a fucking like a metal baseball. Clang, clang, beating the shit out of him, knocks him through the bamboo paper. And then he on the other side is like a heroin den with all these crazy bitches laughing. So he's like beating him. He's falling all over these chicks. One chick, he lands in her lap, and then he moves out of the way, and then she's still there laughing. Ha 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 ha. The glasses
they all have
on,
these
their
like
faces all painted.
these grotesque faces laughing, all weird and evil and drugged up. And they have like free love painted on their faces. And it's, you know, that whole hippie thing. And it's not cool. It's really gross. It's
and
nightmare.
So you can hear it like clang, clang. He hits Williams a few more times. And then Williams falls and he just kneels down and hits him 6 times. Bam, bam, just bludgeons him with this metal, basically this metal ball on the end of his arm. And you can see the blood on the cuff of his shirt and shit. Like he, beats him to death. And then that's it for Williams. And then Roper, he takes Roper on a tour and he's basically recruiting him saying, hey, you can work for my organization and shit. And then so he's walking around real, Inspector Gadget villain type, petting this fluffy cat.
I gotta say, as a writer who loves crime fiction, the Dean Cain stuff, the action adventure crime, and it has to have that little. It isn't fantasy. It isn't that it's not realistic, James Bond and all that stuff, but it's pushing it's going up to the line of reality and just looking over the boundaries of what could be real or not. And you get stuff like this where he has basically a museum of weapons and torture devices. Like, who would do this in real life? I suppose it's all possible, but I love stuff like this. And you're right. He's giving Roper a tour. Here's this, here's that. And he puts a cat in a guillotine. Like, he puts the cat's head in the well of that guillotine there.
He's going to chop his cat.
And he's like, and him and Roper have this like little tense conversation. Like, you're not going to do this though. Right. And you don't know. This guy's unhinged. It's very weird. And
then Roper, he grabs the cat before he can do it. He's like,
right.
He's like, oh, so there's a line you won't cross. Like,
right.
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and watch you chop this cat in half. And when he grabs the cat, you see the cat actually get pissed. Like,
he's like, they told me when you got here that you always slayed pussy. I guess not.
He's like, oh, you thought it was a lady. And so he pulls the chain, and then it ends up being in like a little elevator that goes down.
Right.
And
they go into the heroin production basement.
We're going to the heroin level. And so he shows him his operation, he want to be a part of it. And then he looks over. It's like a little tattoo parlor and shit.
It's
going to these caves. And then he looks over.
For context, this is 1970X, I don't know, early 70s, right? Early
71, 72.
Tattoos are like not like today for you youngins out there.
No.
Nobody had tattoos unless they went to prison or were in the military. Like, you didn't just have a tattoo.
Yeah.
It was unheard of. It was unseemly.
Like that's why you see the old timers with a tattoo on their forearm of like an anchor and shit.
Right.
Those are the only guys who got them. Or yeah, like can of spinach. And those are the only guys, sailors and criminals. So like, whoa, tattoo. She's getting a dragon on her back. Whoa. So he's going through, he's showing him his operation, telling him, hey, you want to be a part of it? I want you to be on my team. And then he's basically telling him, hey, and these are the guys who these are the people who
disagree with what I'm doing.
Yeah. But he says they're drunks, who don't want to work and shit. So he throws them in jail, which if that's true, I don't have a problem with that. But he shows him and he basically tells him, hey, but if you fuck around, this is what's going to happen. And they look over and there's Williams all fucked up and dead, hanging. He has like chains around him and shit, holding him up. And then they drop him in like some fucking hydrochloric acid or some shit. And he's like, hey, this is what I do. But if you cross me, I'll fucking kill you just like your friend. And, Roper's all horrified, like, oh my God, Williams. And then they never really like end the tour. It just kind of cuts to Bruce doing this
Bruce Lee, super secret agent for the British intelligence, brings a snake in a bag. The old snake in a bag, right?
No, he goes back to the same entry point where he was in the first time, and they put a cobra there.
Oh, they put
to bite him.
That's right.
Yeah, when he goes to move the plants, they were planning on the cobra to bite his ass.
We'll talk about that for a minute. You have all this money. You do have technology. It is the early 70s, light sensors, those kind of things, motion detector, rudimentary ones, they exist at this point. Your idea is not a German Shepherd that would bark and alert people. Your idea is an animal that's mute and will alert nobody that the guy is here. Snakes can't talk. They can't bark. They hiss. Come on, man. What kind of security is this?
But they want it to be quiet and bite him when he reaches to move the plants out of the way to gain access. So, Gabe, instead of being judgmental, why don't you put a handful of coke up your nose and see what kind of script you write?
They could have, instead of a garden, I wouldn't have a garden snake. I wouldn't have. My friend found a gardener snake in his backyard. I thought, what if a gardener snake was a garden snake? It'd be a garden snake. It'd be crazy. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Are you hungry? I'm hungry. Am I talking fast? I feel like I'm talking fast.
Yeah. So, you have a random, hey, dude, your nose, and you got blood coming out of your nose. It's all bad.
My bad.
Again, so, before you judge Gabe, do a bunch of coke, then write a movie. Okay. So they put the cobra there to bite Bruce Lee, but
he's here.
So, but you forget it's Bruce Lee, so he's faster than a snake.
Right.
And I believe that Bruce Lee really did this. I don't know if they defanged this fucking thing, but you see Bruce Lee and the snake moving, and this is way before CGI. So I don't know if you can look it up and see, but I'm pretty sure Bruce Lee really grabbed this fucking cobra. So he turns the bag inside out, puts it over his hand, grabs the cobra by the head, holds it, and feeds it into the bag. So now he has a cobra in a satchel draped around his back. So
here we go. I found it for you. Yes. I need a drink of water from doing voices. Give me a second. Yes, in the 1973 film Enter the Dragon, they used a real cobra in that one scene, and Bruce Lee handles the snake. The crew obtained the cobra from a Hong Kong shop, and the seller assured them that the snake was defanged and non-venomous. Lee was not harmed during one take, but he did get bitten on the hand during another scene. Lee was a professional and insisted on finishing the scene before receiving treatment for the bite.
Come on. That's how badass Bruce Lee was. He got bit. No, let's finish. One more take. And then I go to the doctor. Come on.
Bruce, you're turning kind of white there, buddy. You sure you shouldn't go to the doctor?
Roll the film.
Right, you're the
Van Damme's better than him. Anyway, so.
Hey, whoa. Hey, whoa.
There's no way Van Damme would have gotten bit and continued the scene.
Okay. I'm just going to have to shut you once and for all. Let's see. You tell me, you recognize this? Yeah, let's it's going to show a damn White Claw commercial while I'm trying to show you something.
Yeah, I do recognize White Claw. Thank you.
Hold on. Stop playing the damn White Claw commercial.
They wouldn't let a movie star fucking do that nowadays.
Oh, what's that? What's that you say? He punched that snake to death.
You mean that rubber snake? No, that's a real snake, sir. And they were assured by some googly-eyed old man in a Chinese shop.
That's right. Whoa!
Come on. Fuck out of here. We can see that eye is fucking plastic.
Do you see that?
Thanks a lot, 1993.
Huh?
So anyway, to a real martial arts star who used real fucking cobras from Japanese shops in an alley like Gremlins, he fucking gets the snake, puts it in the bag. He's like, I'm gonna use this later. So he has the snake in a bag.
What did he have the bag for? What was the bag? He just brought an empty bag.
That's what his rope was in.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the bag in there. We can't just walk around with a rope in your hand, Gabe. You got to put it in a satchel.
That's
right. He puts the snake in there, lowers himself down. This is where you see the crazy chicks who are like
the heroin heads.
Yeah, she's like, help me, let me out, help me. And this chick's fucking gone right here. She looks like Chelsea Peretti.
Yacked out of the gills.
Yeah, she's mainlining all kinds of wild shit out of those 50.
She does look like Chelsea Peretti.
Yeah,
a little bit. She got the same eyes and nose, similar, very similar.
Not a good looking lady. So he comes across the little control center, right? And again, a real snake. You can see the snake like moving and shit, and he's like hitting it on the back of the head to get its hood to come out. And he sees a control center, so he needs to get to the control center, get to the radio, and call for reinforcements. He has his proof and his evidence. So how is he going to get these guys out of here? You would think he'll just go in there, whoop some ass, and get on the radio. That's too simple. He opens a door crack, gets the snake all pissed off, puts the cobra in there, And the cobra, the guys go, oh, nah, 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 nah. That's literally what they fucking do. Nah, 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 nah. They get all fucking scared. And
Is that what they said?
yeah, it's a direct quote. Look at the transcripts.
Oh my
God.
God.
And so the guy gets scared, and you can actually see the guy kick his chair back, and it like smashes the snake's stomach. Like the snake probably got hurt on this movie. And they take their chair, throw it through the window, fucking jump out because they're scared of the cobra. Whoa, no, the cobra's gonna bite me, you pussies. So they jump out the window, and as soon as they do that, Bruce Lee gets on the thing and starts, starts Morse coding that bitch. And the snake slithering around, and he puts his foot on the snake to hold it there. That's how badass Bruce Lee is. He's calling in reinforcements while holding a cobra down with his scantily clad foot.
He looks like a DJ at some European club.
Yeah.
Yeah, we going all the way to USA #1. We're gonna rock out.
I play all your hits till midnight. New Year's. So he's calling it.
Put your hands in the air. You don't even care about it.
Put your hands in the air. Wave them like you don't care about nothing. And so it cut to the guy in Great Britain. He's typing it out, shit. And so he sends the message, and then the message gets to Mr. Braithwaite, who's sleeping. He's this came in half an hour ago. This is another scene that I would say with a buddy of mine named Robert. Shout out to Robert, he's from Hawaii. This was 98% of our conversation with each other was quoting this fucking movie. But one of the scenes is the British guy, they deliver the message, and he goes, this came in half an hour ago. And he gets on the phone and he calls. He's like, put the colonel on the line. And he goes, I don't care who he's with. You bloody well put him on the line. And he goes, wake him up.
He's with your mother, sir.
Mom, get off of his penis and put him on the line. So he tells him, well, wake him up. And so he wakes up the colonel. They call in the British National Guard. The troops are mobilized. They're running to the helicopters with their guns and their dungarees and their helmets. They're on their way. But in the meantime, Bruce Lee got to get out here and whoop about 75 dudes' asses in 2 minutes. Let's get started. Right. So he hops out of there, and a guy comes up behind him. So boom, boom, takes out like 4 dudes.
I gotta say, I think this scene where he fights the guys in the underground tournament, the underground heroin lab with the people locked up, he looks spectacular in this. Some of the photography and some of these martial arts moves are just outstanding in this scene. Yeah. You get the nunchucks, you get the bow staff. Oh my gosh, it's a great scene. If you love the martial arts cinema and you want to see that real good comic book action, he kills it in this scene.
So look at the striations. This dude has muscles. Look at his shoulder. His shoulder looks like a pumpkin. I mean,
that
crazy.
deltoid. He's got that deltoid popping.
So one of the guys grabs his shirt and rips it. So of course I can't fight with a ripped shirt. Let's take that bitch off. So he takes his shirt off.
Take my shirt off. He's like, I can't fight without baby oil.
Fucking punching dudes, fucking dudes up. So you go to the next scene and go back 1 or 2, I should say, to the bow staff. So this right here, he's fighting the dudes. And then one guy, the last guy he hits with the bow staff, he takes it, boom, hits him. That's Jackie Chan. And he really hit him with the bow staff. He hit him across his eye and broke his orbital bone in the movie. And Jackie Chan said in an interview, he's like, he was really apologetic and really sorry after. He's like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Fuck Jackie Chan up. Wow. So next he gets he puts that stick down and he grabs 2 sticks, like the Eskrima sticks.
Yeah.
So he starts working on these dudes. And one guy, he hits him. He starts, I think, from the back of his knees and whoops his ass up his body. And the final blow is to the back. I mean, spins around. Last one, boom, to the back of the head. And then there's one guy left. That one dude, he's like, I just saw you beat up 15 dudes, so I ain't gonna do shit. He takes this fake half-ass swing. Bruce Lee catches his nunchucks on the stick. And so Bruce Lee only worked with nunchucks for about 2 or 3 months before filming this movie. So this is just his athletic ability, and his ability to learn quickly in martial arts. So he takes the nunchucks from the guy, and then he holds both handles and extends the nunchucks and holds them where they're taut, as they say, and holds them out in front of him. And then, just starts, twirling the nunchucks around, fucking dudes up. And so when he stops and he has a nunchuck tucked under his one hand, and then his other hand is out like this. That's the poster that I had of him. I had that in my room for years. So then he starts getting to work on these fools with the nunchucks. And he had done nunchucks before in Return of the Dragon, where he with the one where he fought Chuck Norris. There's like some goons that he beats up behind a restaurant with nunchucks and just fucking. So fucks these dudes up with the nunchucks, and you can generate, I think it's 1,600 pounds of pressure with a full swing with nunchucks. So that's enough to just splatter somebody's dome. So he's fucking these dudes up. And he runs into a room, and all these metal doors, shoom, 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 they all come down and trap him in there. And what's cool, not only that's some more Bond shit, like who the hell has metal doors that close like that just slide down from the ceiling? But he's in there. The door, obviously, all the metal doors are down. He knows he can't get out. So then he immediately just accepts it, sits down Indian style or Native American style, whatever, and fucking puts the nunchucks around his
You're on stolen land, you colonizer.
You fucking colonizer. So he
you know
sits
the
down.
funniest thing about those stupid assholes that say stuff like that? 100% of land on every continent, island, every damn rock on this earth is stolen. Someone different was there before the current people killed them.
Yeah.
Shut up with that shit. Jeez.
They skip over the fact that that was the order of business back then.
How do you before banks and loans and reading and writing were invented
and laws?
How do you think people owned land with force? Yeah, so it's all taken from someone weaker.
You fought people. And you think the Indians didn't take land from other Indians?
That's all they did is kill each other. You kidding me?
You stop there. Where moon go behind mountain, my land. Where buffalo run across plain, your land. No, they had more bows and arrows and got some rifle from the white man, and they went and stole that shit from the other fucking Indians.
Right?
Can't stand that shit. What do you think? What do you think? The fucking apocalypto, all them little natives looking out in the bay, seeing all these Spanish ships showing up. You think the Spaniards show up to bring them technology and fucking beans or some shit? No, they came to fuck and take your shit. And that's what they did. They came
to bring them death. Is what they came to bring them.
They had blunderbuss. And all you got is a bamboo fucking spear.
That's a movie we need to do out here. Apocalypto, one of the great movies. I mean, Mel Gibson can do no wrong. You know,
even on a phone call, he can do no wrong. And that's
movie, quite a phone call that he had with that ex-wife of his.
They call that a phone call for the ages. But yeah, Apocalypto was fucking crazy. That was a good movie. But Bruce realizes I'm not getting out, so let me just sit here, see what's up. Yeah. Han comes in. There's like a little room up there, and he comes in.
And then he gets the message. This guy.
But this is where this came in half an hour ago. Wake him up. And so he gets the colonel on the line. Now the guys are on the way, and now Roper, because Williams is gone, and so they're going to square off. They want Roper and Bruce Lee to fight, but Bruce Lee's like, I think Bruce Lee was going to fuck him up, but Roper's like, I'm not fighting him because I'm going to kill him. Look at that! Look at Bruce Lee standing there. Look at that. Who's going to step to that?
All right.
So he's like, I'm not going to fight him. He goes, well, I got somebody over here, and so Bruce Lee walks up because Bruce Lee is about to kick Bolo's ass, but then Roper's like, nah, I got this, man. You hang back. And you see Bruce Lee step back like, okay. And he takes a couple steps back. And then, Bolo starts to whooping his ass. But then he ends up winning. He bites Bolo in the leg. Bolo has him in an arm bar.
How did, I missed this, how did Mei Ling get down there to let the prisoners out?
Well, Han was, I don't think it showed it, but Han is up there, dealing with Bruce Lee and fucking Roper. So it was kind of her time to escape.
So because she's here, you see her on the right of the screen in the purple outfit. You see her right there. Then, it gets real serious upstairs. We caught Bruce Lee sneaking around. So now we're going to have Bolo Young kill him. And then she's downstairs setting people free. And I don't think they ever show you. I mean, she's one of the good guys. And they don't have to show you, I guess. You can put two and two together. She stole some fucking keys and the bad guys trust her. So she's able to get down there. Yeah. So I guess asked and answered, Your Honor.
Yeah, I guess she probably told him, oh, Han sent me down here, whatever the fuck. Yeah. Got past them.
I do love how Bolo Young does die or lose in this scene.
Hey, man, it's not how any man wants to go.
He has a good fight with Roper. He's whooping Roper's ass. He's giving as good as he gets. Roper does that great thing. I should have got a photo of it where you're on your back and then he does the jump and stands right to his feet without using his hands. It's that great jump. But Roper gives him an old 45-yard field goal right in the nuts. He gives him a Jason Elam.
Jumping front kick to the sack. And apparently that's deadly. Dude kicked his balls up in his stomach. Bolo can't handle it. Kicks Bolo right in his bolos, and then he's down for the count. He's done. So then Han's like, Bo Chu, Chang Chu, Ping Ching. He's calling all these dudes, go. He's all kill, kill. And so these dudes run up, and it's on. Bruce Lee just kicking.
And Bruce Lee dispatches. He said, I didn't say get killed. I said kill him.
Kill him. Don't let him kill you.
And so I think this is fun. Again, as a writer, I like moments like this where you connect. She's setting the prisoners free who hate Han and his men. And you got Bruce Lee and Roper outnumbered 600-1, and you get the cavalry. Think of how many Westerns.
Yeah.
Think of Gandalf bringing in the cavalry in Lord of the Rings. The cavalry is such a great thing in the movie. It's a fun scene. And the prisoners spill over, and you get chaos. And it's a fun action scene. All the white uniforms versus the black prison uniforms. And then the heroes are wearing yellow. So I do like that they had the brains to color code this for the crowd. You know, it's the crowd is all crazy. You can see who's doing what. That's a fun one.
I just thought of something we can add to Jericho Green and the Hammerheads. But we'll talk about it. What? So I just thought of something we can add to the story for Jericho Green and the Hammerheads.
Oh, good.
But we'll talk off camera, as they say.
Oh.
So yeah, the cavalry shows up, starts, now it's even. Now you got as many black pajamas as white pajamas. Bam, bam.
I think it's a little, black versus white. I don't know about that.
Racist. But these dudes are fueled by you had me locked up on some bullshit. I hate you. So they're, taking these dudes out.
Can you imagine what you would be fed in an evil Chinese crime lord's island prison, what they're feeding you in there?
So they probably got lucky and he fed them the leftovers from their big meals they had up top.
Oh,
whatever. That would have been cool. But in between tournaments, they're probably eating some bullshit in there.
Right.
Some kind of heroin runoff.
Another bowl of frog assholes again.
I don't like the asshole. Give me frog arm or something. Yeah, that was fucked up, man. They were probably eating some real bad shit. So you see Han has this little jewelry box, this little fucking music box with a 3-clawed fucking hairy thing in it, and he puts it on, and now he's just gonna get the slashing.
Captain Bruno says, since they are Chinese, Hong Kong, they'd feed you Panda Express to make you feel true shame. I would say this: I am Mexican. You are not, Jericho, but you live in California, which is the land of Mexicans. How are there people that live in the Golden State here with us that eat at Taco Bell when amazing family-owned Mexican taquerias and taco shops are ubiquitous, if I can use a big word? They're everywhere. There's never, ever a reason to eat at Taco Bell anywhere on earth, but there's double never a reason to eat at Taco Bell in California. You've got to be kidding me.
If you're shit-faced and it's 3:00 in the morning, those tacos.
No, the taco shop. The taquerias are open. They're open. They're open 24 hours. Many of them are 24 hours.
Well, I don't know if they're near the nightclubs, but some people just want to get violent ass vomit. And
I literally, like a white girl says, I literally have not eaten at a Taco Bell since 2001 or 2. When did the Timberwolves with Kevin Garnett play Kobe and the Lakers? That was the last time I had Taco Bell, that year, whatever that year was.
Well, on your 25th anniversary of that, you need to come back to the fold and get some of this. Now, and not only is Taco Bell shit Mexican food, but now it's like $48 for 2 people to eat there, which is some bullshit.
That's insane because Taco Bell was the cheapest, right? It was the
not now that you pay fast food workers $20 an hour. Those shit tacos ain't gonna be cheap no more. Those things like $5 a piece. It's ridiculous.
Well, as you know, I live 20-something miles from Tijuana, Mexico.
Tijuana.
And I got a good friend, Hector. He lives down there. And I go down there and have lunch with him sometimes. Tacos El Frank is the best taco shop in Tijuana, is what all the websites say. And I just found out they're Michelin star nominated this year. I am heading to Tacos El Frank in Tijuana, and I will tell you how it is, because I go down to Tijuana to get the tacos and they are insane. I mean, we have them here in San Diego, but it's fun to go down there, and check out the culture and stuff like that. And it's so close to my house anyway. But I want to go to Tacos El Frank, Michelin star rated street tacos. Well, it's gotta be insane.
If I lived in Southern California with subpar Mexican food, I'd go to Mexico too.
Well,
because we all know the best Mexican food in California is up norte.
That's hilarious. That's the thing about you. You are such a funny guy.
It's a
Can't
trip,
read a
man.
fucking map, but very funny.
Yes, I can.
Kids, let's all go to our geography lesson. Here's where
Let's.
Jericho lives. Up here, he's in NoCal. And I say NoCal. I don't like NorCal with the R. I say NoCal.
NorCal, dude. Fucking NorCal. Those
Yeah.
NorCal tattoos with the star. Those are
It's
the fucking
hella
dumb
NorCal,
shit.
bro. And then I live in America's finest city down here. And you'll
Mhm.
notice that Mexico's right here, and that I am
Mhm.
right here. And Jericho has the temerity. Look at this shit. He has the temerity
Way up there. Look how big
that it's
California
better
is.
up here. That somehow these people in Mexico go through the ocean, go around me, and then go up to Jericho and give him better food.
They do. You think there's no Mexicans up here?
I think there's more down here, and they've been here longer.
No, they go past San Diego because they don't want that shit Mexican food. They come up north where it's good.
Did you know that San Diego and LA, they're very close? It's about 100 miles.
Smell it.
We have different food than LA. We have unique Mexican food. It's the best. It's absolutely the best.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
But you know what? You know what? Another medal you can hang around your neck there, San Diego? You can hang the medal of #1 for illegal border crossings in the United States of America.
Well, you can't cross the border in Sacramento. There's no border there.
Well, there are other border towns like in Texas and Arizona and Mexico.
They were the worst until like that stuff
So San
happened.
Diego said, hold my fucking guacamole.
You know what the great thing is, though? All the people coming here, being dropped off every day, they're not staying here. They're putting them on buses at the Old Town bus station and planes, and they're shipping them around the country is what I saw on the news. Didn't read.
How is that fucking legal? How is that legal? That's why we got Mexican ladies that work at our Walmarts that don't speak no fucking English.
I was in
That
Colorado
shit.
last week helping take care of my father, and I went around collecting rent for him because my dad owns a bunch of homes that he rents out. And I met some people who are Chuk. I did not even know this country existed. But the lady told me that the U.S. government gave them a bunch of work visas and brought the Chuk people here. So I met a Chuk, and
did she try to choke? Did she try to choke you out?
This is Chuk right here. That's Chuk. It's a bunch of little islands, and here's where it is.
Mexico? What the fuck is that?
There it is.
Oh shit, that's like what? Africa? No, not Africa.
This is Australia. Papua New Guinea.
So they're like Southeast Asian or something?
No. And they
No. So they're like Southeast Asian or something?
Yeah, she looked like Samoan or, Guamanian or whatever is how she looked, the lady I was talking to. I never even knew this existed, this little country.
I hope that when you collected the rent, you knocked on the door and said, hey, bitch.
No.
That's how you collected it.
My dad's business. I'm going to be polite.
Oh.
So, I did not even know those people existed. So you learn something new every day.
You gotta be kidding. That's crazy.
So anyway, the awesome fight breaks out. Prisoners versus bad guys.
Bam.
And then Roper and Bruce Lee are still alive, but poor Williams, he met his fate.
He's in the acid bath.
But
now Han starts just clawing people's faces. Everybody's getting scratched by this motherfucker. And he even scratches Bruce Lee's face. They square off for a minute right here in the midst of all these people.
Right.
And he fucking scratches Bruce Lee's face, and he's like, "Whoa!" He gets all pissed off, goes after him. But Han runs like a bitch. He runs to his little lair where he was going to cut that cat in half.
Remember that? Yeah, that weapons like museum that Han has. They run into there, which is such a killer place to put the final fight of the movie.
And what's crazy is outside, it's boom, boom, and then boom, the silence of the room that they're in.
Yeah,
that was such a good juxtaposition of the loud chaos, and then boom, now it's them in the room together. You can see Bruce Lee got a couple shots on his bitch ass. His face is bleeding. So then Bruce Lee comes in.
Han gets a different hand. He gets the Wolverine with like
he breaks the glass. He has this fucking glass case with all these different hands in it. He breaks the glass, takes out this like Wolverine razor hand. And then when Bruce Lee comes in, Han is like, frantic and shit. And he just screws on his new hand. Bruce Lee comes in the doorway and he says, "You have offended my family and the Shaolin Temple." And then that's all he says to him. Then he goes into it, starts fucking
think about how personal this is to Bruce Lee in this movie for the character development. He studies martial arts at that temple, and this guy is a member of that study of that temple, and he's rogue. He's violated all their norms and rules and morality. So he's disgracing something that he's dedicated his life to. He's also a drug lord and an absolute bastard and criminal. And he also employs the guy who harassed Bruce Lee's sister to death. So this is very personal for him to get rid of this guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I like how he didn't have this long drawn out monologue. He just said, "You've offended my family in a Shaolin temple." And to him and his beliefs, that's enough. That's like as bad as it gets. So you see, he gets him a couple times in the face, and then that's when he touches the blood in his stomach, puts it on his tongue, and then there's a scene where they jump in the air and they like cross right there where they're like
Now, how
crossing
great
each
is
other.
that? How great. I mean, that's why I say him and Van Damme, Jackie Chan, Benny the Jet, like the greatest. I mean, you could go on. You could name 50 guys that are amazing, but they're the ones that stand out to me. But this, he looks so great
Yeah,
doing martial arts on film.
perfect flying sidekick, leg tuck, leg
Right.
straight out. And so they jump in the air twice. The first time they jump in the air, that's when Han scratches him across the stomach. And so he lands, tastes the blood, they jump in the air again, and this time Bruce Lee with that kick fucking nails Han. It's a close-up. Boom, right in his face. Now in real life, you catch somebody with a flying sidekick in their jaw, his jaw will probably come off, and he's at the very least knocked the fuck out.
Right.
But Han, whatever. And so you see his blood come out of his mouth and his nose. He grabs a spear and starts trying to stab Bruce and shit. And so he goes to stab him with it. And Bruce Lee turns to the side and it goes through the wall, the panel that he's standing next to.
Right.
And so
and
after
that'll
it does
come
that,
in handy in about 5 minutes. The spear is stuck through a wall.
It goes through the wall. It's like halfway stuck through the wall. And so when Bruce Lee goes at him, Han runs around him and pushes that panel. And the panel starts to spin. And you see one side is mirrors. And then I also had the poster of this with Bruce Lee, all his reflections in the mirror.
I think this is, again, as an illustrator myself, someone who deals in imagery for a living, I draw all that. I love this final part here with the maze of mirrors. You as a viewer, when you're watching the movie, you're trying to decide which one is probably the real Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
But even thinking logistically, how the hell do you film this and not show the camera and the crew and all that? That's a whole other challenge. So yeah, it's really cool. They're both lurking, like tigers, just lurking, looking, and they'll walk. And we don't have video here; we just have imagery. But they'll walk out of one mirror and into another, and come in and go. And it's gorgeous to look at. A really fun way to do this. Conan, the second Conan, was it Red Sonja or was it Conan the Destroyer? He fights in a mirrored room, and that's pretty cool too.
And it has to be from this.
Right.
Any mirrored room maze, like it has to be because of this movie. So Han, of course, knows the room back to front because it's his. But so Bruce Lee, Bruce Lee walks past him, and Han comes around the corner and like slashes him in the back. And then Bruce Lee turns around with a spinning back fist and like he misses him, but he hits the glass and he breaks it. And so you can see there on his stomach, the blood starting to run down and shit. The attention to detail with the makeup is great. But flashback to when he's talking to the guy in the orange suit in the very beginning, he tells him something along the lines of, when you see the image, if you destroy the image, then you destroy, whatever. So he's basically telling him, when you're confused like this, destroy the image. So then he starts kicking and punching all these different panels of glass so he can determine which reflection is really O'Hara. And so once he does that, Han, I'm sorry. O'Hara's already fucked up.
I'm sorry. Again, as an illustrator, I love these images. I think they're so great.
Yeah, you don't know who's who. You don't know which is the real one until they walk real close.
Let me get a little artsy here. It's real slow, moving, creeping. But what you get here when you have these like multiple static images, static meaning they're holding still, it creates motion. Like a comic book is singular panels. Batman never moves in the comic book. You just draw him posed. But the way you draw the poses and the way you put them in order, you feel motion. And when I look at these, I feel it like moving it. It creates this emotional tension. Check this movie out if you haven't seen it, guys. This is spectacular the way this one ends. I mean, look at that. That's so badass.
And he finally, kicks all these panels of glass so he can finally see the real reflection. And then O'Hara goes to strike the final blow. Han goes to strike the final blow, and then Bruce Lee gives him a sleight of sidekick, like right under the armpit, and boom, he goes flying, and then he goes and is kicked up against that spear that he stabbed through the.
What a way to go!
He's like a foot off the ground, hanging on the spear. It's a wrap for Han, And so, and then like the coolest shit ever, Bruce Lee walks out and he pushes that panel to get out, and the panel just keeps spinning. And Han like comes around with the spear, stuck to his chest, and it just keeps spinning. And then he goes outside. The battle's over, and it's funny. You still see some of the dudes in black. They're like in a circle, like throwing this fucking dude in white around, just beating the shit out of him.
And then we get our classic lethal weapon where the police show up at the end. Yeah. And then Bruce looks up and smiles.
He's like, where were you before I beat fucking 175 dudes' asses? Yeah,
it's
that's
a good one, guys.
Because when Han went to strike him, Bruce Lee moved and his hand got stuck in the arm of that chair. And then Bruce Lee hit him with an elbow, and that's how his hand was out. And then when he got down in the room, that's why he had to get a hand for the shit.
Yeah. And I would say Bruce Lee is such an amazing martial artist that he made this impact on the culture by only making 4.5 movies. I mean, think about that.
Yep.
Most people would say he is the greatest martial artist in cinema history. I won't argue with that at all. I prefer Van Damme, but that's just my childhood that I bonded with my best friend watching Van Damme movies. I'm not stupid. I know the Michael Jordan of martial arts is Bruce Lee. It's nobody else. And he did it in 4.5 movies. That's how badass he is.
Yep.
He's got Enter the Dragon. He's got
Fist of Fury,
Fist of Fury.
The Dragon, Fist of Fury, Chinese Connection, Return of the Dragon, Game of Death.
Game of Death, he's only half in the movie because he died making that one. So he didn't die making the movie. He died during the filming of the movie, but had nothing to do with the movie as far as I know. He died like in his apartment, like went to take a nap or something.
Yeah, he had a headache and he took some medicine that was prescribed for somebody else. And so
what do you have, like a heart attack or something? Or
brain edema?
Oh my goodness.
But I recommend Dragon the Bruce Lee Story with Jason Lee from like 1993. Right. That was a pretty good movie about his life. But imagine if Bruce Lee had 10 movies.
Imagine if he was still alive. He was like 75, 77, 70, maybe 80 years old. I don't know how old he would be. But just imagine if he had a 35-year career.
Yeah. Him and his son.
Imagine him. Hold on. The pinnacle of movies, as we know on this channel, the greatest movies were made from the early 80s to the early 90s. That is the greatest 10-year stretch. Your Indiana Jones, Back to the Future, all the big Terminator 2 in 1991. Imagine if Bruce Lee was in Hollywood for those 10 years making these kind of movies. What would we have gotten, dude?
And imagine him with a 25-year-old Brandon Lee, and he's like, 55.
Right.
Them doing movies here.
He would have been Brandon Lee, and Brandon Lee survives too in this scenario. Yeah. God rest both of them. Bruce Lee would have been Dean Cain and Brandon Lee's father in some movie. You know what I mean? Because they're both white and Asian. Bruce Lee is Dutch and Chinese. Dean is Japanese and then mixture of white. And then Brandon Lee is obviously the same as his father, Dutch and Chinese. And then Brandon Lee is even more white, right?
Yeah, his mom was white.
Right. So he's mostly white, Brandon Lee. So I could have seen the three of them in a movie. That would have been something.
That would have been tight, man.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. A legend, the legend of martial arts cinema in 4.5 movies. Unreal.
Yeah. To this day, there's a little Asian boy who has wears the yellow suit that he wore in Game of Death, and he does like nunchucks and shit. That's still.
If you think that yellow suit is not appearing in Dean Cain All-American Lawman Volume 2 in the Hong Kong Connection, you're on drugs. Of course that suit's going to make an appearance.
That should be crazy. And so Secretary, not sure, he'd be 84. Dude, he'd still be doing
He'd still be alive.
84.
He'd still be alive because he was
He'd probably still be doing movies. Clint Eastwood's still doing it. Bruce Lee's still doing it.
Yeah.
Man, we got robbed, man. We got fucking robbed.
Yeah.
Action movie fans. By the death of those two guys.
Yeah.
Crazy. But we got to do another one soon. Maybe next week.
The first time I saw Enter the Dragon, it was not at all what I expected. I didn't know what to expect. And I was confused the first time I saw it. I was like, I did not know at all he made a modern movie. I thought his movies were throwbacks to feudal like China. Like I thought they were more historical. I'd never really sat down and watched them or done any study of them. So I was pleasantly surprised because I love this, because this movie has 90s Van Damme, whatever kind of tournament fighter, and that funky James Bond 60s, 70s thing going on at the same time. I love it. I think it's great.
In all of his movies, well, I think one of his best movies was Chinese Connection. And it's weird. Here in America, it was Chinese Connection. But in China, it was called Fist of Fury. And then
Right.
Fist of Fury was called Fist of Fury in America, but in China, it was called The Big Boss. But Chinese Connection, I think that's the best one that really showcases his acting skills because he plays different characters in that movie. Because he has to get close, he has to infiltrate the Japanese dojo, so he plays different characters. But I think the next one we got to do is Fist of Fury because they're all pretty good revenge-based movies. In Chinese Connection, they killed his teacher.
Right.
Fist of Fury, they're fucking with his family and they end up killing his family, his cousins. And then in Return of the Dragon, where he fights Chuck Norris, there he has an uncle who owns a restaurant. These thugs are like trying to get him out of the restaurant so they can buy it and shit. So yeah, man, there's some great. Plus, he fights Chuck Norris in there too. One of the hairier individuals.
When does he fight Kareem Abdul-Jabbar? When is that?
Game of Death.
Game of Death. Okay.
Where he does the different fight, somebody different to fight on each level.
Right, and that's that reminds me of the old Kung Fu game on the Nintendo, the 8-bit Nintendo.
Yeah.
Did you know in Japan that exact same game is starring Jackie Chan? That's based off of a Jackie Chan movie. The one where it's ha 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 ha, and they kidnap your girlfriend Daisy. I love that game.
And Jet Li redid what was it called? Fist of the Legend.
Right.
That's a remake of Chinese Connection, where the Japanese are occupying China in the 1930s. It's fucked up. There's like some real deep shit in it. But I think Fist of Fury would be my second favorite.
Okay.
Bruce Lee
You want to do that one next week, Fist of Fury?
Yeah, Fist of Fury is great.
Okay.
But in Chinese or Game of Death, when he's fighting the guys on different levels, the Japanese guy, he fights a guy in a gi that has gold trim on it. That guy he fights in Return of the Dragon. I mentioned the characters that you see in different movies. Right. That guy's in Return of the Dragon. Dan and Santo, who's Styx from the Out for Justice.
Right.
He's one of the guys he fights on a level in Game of Death.
Oh.
And then Shu Shane, one of the cousins in Fist of Fury, is also in Chinese Connection. So you see a lot of those same faces. And the bad guy from Fist of Fury is also a different bad guy in Chinese Connection as well. So it's crazy. But yeah. Well, let's hold on. Let me give a little more thought. It's either Fist of Fury or Chinese Connection. I say do Chinese Connection next.
Okay. Well, they're all great.
That one's fun. A
Clint Eastwood movie starring Bruce Lee would have been wild. Jeez.
Oh yeah, man.
You imagine Bruce Lee as a
directed by Clint Eastwood.
Bruce Lee is a San Francisco cop in the late 70s. Holy shit, dude.
Yeah, he
that would have been
teams
insane.
up with what's his name? Callahan. Teams up with Callahan to clean up the streets. And he's a cop assigned to Chinatown. But Callahan, has to team
Bruce
up with
Lee,
the guy.
As we all know, I don't know if people back east know, there were a ton of Chinese out here in the cowboy days. They did a lot of building on the railroads and all that. Mm-hmm. Bruce Lee in a Western, where he's, the cowboy drifter. He comes to, Westerns are always this thing. A stranger comes to town. That's like the ultimate Western story, right? A stranger comes to town and settles the bad guy that's bullying everybody. Bruce Lee in a Clint Eastwood Western. That'd be awesome.
Bruce Lee is the law enforcement in the Chinese, part of town or encampment or whatever.
Right.
And
then he would have got as his career matured, he would have got like dramatic roles. He's in a courtroom drama or something. Then Bruce Lee's doing wacky comedy movies with like Steve Martin acting across him. And
we got robbed.
Yeah.
We got fucking robbed. So let's make it official. Chinese Connection.
All right.
Next week.
Okay. Chinese Connection it is. Guys, subscribe to Jericho's YouTube, both of them, Green's House and the regular Jericho Green channel. Follow him on X. Jericho Green
_Jericho.
Green_Jericho. Follow me on X. Big Man Comics. Guys, I'm going to be at Comic-Con. I'm going to have an event July 24th outside of Comic-Con. Free to come in, meet me, and other people you know and love might just be there. It's going to be fun. We're going to be celebrating Big Man Comics. Going to be announcing a new book. I've got my other books. I'm working on the sci-fi Dean Cain 2, the Hammerheads of Jericho. I got another book I'll announce at Comic-Con. And follow me on YouTube. Guys, like this. Everyone watching right now, hit the like and then share it. That helps the algorithm, helps it get noticed and spread out. And what else is going on? Anything else, Jericho? Anything you want to promote?
No, man, just hit me on X. Hit my link for my merch. 20% off. Sloppy Joe, all caps, no spaces. Yeah, man. Just hit up my description
If you're
box for
gonna
any of my
do that,
videos.
if you're gonna advertise like that, you need to do that in Joe Biden's voice. Let's try it again.
Yeah, if you want to get some of that merch from Jericho Green there, just put my name, all caps, Sloppy Joe. Yeah. Jill!
There you go. There you go.
Go. Bam.
All right. Chinese Connection next week, guys. We will talk to you later. All right. Bye-bye. And